What is up, my friends in the film and fandom? I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's been a good day, hot day. Summer's kicking in. Wherever you may be, however you may be watching, thank you very much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Summertime. Summertime, usually you start thinking about jungle environments. And what else would you find in a jungle environment other than a bunch of damn dinosaurs? Here to talk about that and a couple other news stories with me today are my usual co-hosts and another friend, another YouTuber we've been collaborating with lately. The first one, of course, is the Dowager Countess, Lady Cora. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm good. We had some really good weather today. Work's awful as usual. It's fantastic.
The weather
Great
was
to be here.
fantastic, and I got to spend most of it putting new stuff on my car, which was not what I wanted to do today. The real work I wanted to do was in my yard, but I got pulled away because the car is more important because without the car I don't go to work, which sucks. But
Yeah, that is important.
also joining me, as always, is that the suave, ever so sexy looking hetero life mate of mine, Mr. Jeremy? What's going on, my man?
I believe his name is Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Are you trying to talk like him now too?
I talk like him anyway. See, the trick is to be confident in it, to not make it sound like you're actually messing up what you're trying to say.
I think I stole that thunder for like 5 minutes filming because I couldn't talk straight. I'm like,
Well, I
Line?
decided to bring him back because, I mean, who else's movie is this really other than good old Dr. Ian Malcolm's?
And to help us with all the dinosaur Jurassic Park goodness, we have an expert in the whole field. That is the Brooding Gamer. What is going on, my man?
it's going good. Thanks for having me on again.
Link to the Brooding Gamer is in the description below. He's down in the gamer area section where I have links to people like The Rose and to Casey is Raw to their channels. So if you're into gaming, go check out those three guys. They are actually really fun to watch. Brooding Gamer's channel is growing and doing all kinds of cool things with his stuff. I was watching a little bit of him the other night. I wasn't active in the chat because I was driving at the time, and that kind of thing is dangerous, they tell me, but I was watching, and it's fun to go in there and have some fun. But we do have some interesting news stories to talk about today, and let's get to those before we get to our retro movie review of The Lost World Jurassic Park. Lady Cora, what's the first topic we're going into today?
Well, She-Hulk Attorney at Law surprisingly dropped its first trailer on Tuesday, and it was intense and hilarious. The new comedy series stars Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, a lawyer who specializes in superhuman-oriented legal cases. The first look at the series is nearly 2 minutes long and features Mark Ruffalo reprising his MCU Bruce Banner, aka Hulk role. She-Hulk Attorney at Law follows Walters as she navigates the complicated life of a single 30-something attorney who also happens to be a green 6'7" super-powered Hulk. Frank, what did you think of the first trailer for She-Hulk?
I thought it was a good first trailer. I didn't think it was special. I thought it was good, which is okay by me. I don't get some of the bitching about this trailer and the CGI. Because it's not unheard of for a first trailer for a special effects heavy project to come out and to have some of the CGI a little unfinished. I think even some movies like Independence Day and stuff like that. I think maybe one of the Jurassic Park movies, one of the first trailers that came out for those, people were kind of like, oh, if this is what we're getting, we're pissed. And we're like, calm down. We still have a number of months to go until this thing actually gets put in front of our eyes, so we're going to go ahead and just work on the CGI, finish it up. It'll be great by the time the project comes out. But I mean, I thought it was fun looking. I mean, it's going to have the theme. It makes it pretty clear what the theme to this particular project is going to be. It's going to be an Ally McBeal kind of thing. You're going to be following this, 30-something young single girl as she goes through this weirdness, dating and doing all that weird shit, but also it's got that Marvel effect of now we're getting into the legal and probably even some of the ethical stuff surrounding having superheroes, which is something that Marvel has kind of avoided up till now, with the exception of maybe just like the Sokovia Accords and stuff like that. They're actually going to get into a more personal level dealing with this stuff. I actually thought it was an interesting trailer. I really like her as in the role. What's this girl's name again? Tatiana Maslany. She looks good in the role, and I'm with it. It doesn't have to be seriously connected to the MCU to be a fun thing. I don't know. I think it's going to be fun to watch. People can bitch about it all they want because nowadays people just like to bitch to hear their own voices. I just want this thing to be good, and right now it looks like it's going to be good. I don't know, Jeremy. What do you think? You saw the trailer.
She's not muscular enough. She doesn't look like a Hulk. You look like you painted some bitch green and like gave her a whole foot of height. I'd still let her step on my throat, but I'm just saying she didn't look like a Hulk. Like, I think I think you know what you were doing, but you're like, let's take about 3 steps back before we go too far. I'm like, it's already there. I think you're all the Lady D fans, you know what I'm talking about.
Everybody got the Shrek vibe from it, the Fiona Shrek vibe from it, like
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't really get that, but I mean, now that you mention it, there is kind of, I'm just waiting for like these two little things to pop out of her head. So,
I also just saw like the thing where they both do the superhero landing. I'm like, what's that gangly green looking? I'm like, that's the Hulk. What the fuck is that? What the fuck was that thing? I know what it was. I saw that picture. Yeah, I saw the picture. I'm just saying that I didn't see the trailer. I'm like, oh, that's She-Hulk. I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, she's pretty comic book accurate. I mean, because I've seen pictures of her from the comic book, and She-Hulk is not this big, gargantuan, 500, 600, 700 pound piece of muscle like the Hulk is. She's actually a little more. And one of the things I always kind of like about the Lou Ferrigno Hulk from back in the late 70s and early 80s in the TV show is that he wasn't this big mutant that comes from this regular-sized man. He was just a very large man. The one thing I didn't like about the Ang Lee Hulk movie that came out years ago, the one that wasn't part of the MCU, is that one of the things in that movie is that every time he got injured or more pissed off, he got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm like, that's not really how this works. I mean, it's one thing for little, Bruce Banner to grow into a big guy like Hulk, but even that's kind of hard to believe because I'm like, there's only so much mass that exists here. You can't just triple that amount of mass because he's got some gamma radiation rolling in his blood. I didn't really get that part, but I like the fact that they've kind of limited this growth of this thing since they brought Hulk into the MCU proper. I don't know, Brooding Gamer, you saw the trailer. What did you think of it?
I didn't know I needed that type of woman in my life until today. It was interesting. I honestly, it's not one of those things I've been looking forward to because I heard they were doing it. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I was actually more just happy to see the Hulk come back and he's not wearing his cast anymore. I thought that was like, hey, he's healed. Yay. So I was more happy about that, to be honest with you.
I guess you could say like what he said. I consider this a win.
I drew a blank there. I think Haley and I will probably watch it just as why the hell not? I got her hooked into Moon Knight, and now she's kind of like watching all the other series with me now. So I think we'll give it a chance. Just to
I hope she likes WandaVision. It turned me into an MCU fan, that series.
Oh, her Wanda, what's her name? Scarlet Witch is one of her favorites anyway. She fell in love with her during the Marvel movie, the Age of Ultron. She fell in love with her there, so she was all about seeing that particular series.
That's still the best thing they've done. But I don't know. What about you, Lady Cora? I mean, you saw the trailer. Is there anything that stands out to you as good or bad?
I'm probably not going to watch it unless we're reviewing it. I'll say that.
I don't think we'll do anything specific for this show, but I mean, or for any specific streams based on just the show. But I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it. Probably make it part of the weekly rundown when it comes out here in a couple months.
I don't know,
a month.
maybe.
When does it come out? I forget when it comes out.
August.
It's not till August, mid-August. So yeah, we got time.
I'm too busy focusing on Prehistoric Planet on
got
Apple
Downton Abbey in
TV.
my head.
I got too much stuff going on.
That's right. Alan Grant always stays busy.
But ultimately, I mean, I think it was a fun trailer. I mean, it's obviously going to have, the theme it's going to have. It's going to be a bit Ally McBeal-ish, a bit of a rom-com thing to it, which is not something that Marvel's really kind of messed with yet. I mean, sure, they've had relationships and stuff, but they haven't really kind of done this kind of theme. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
I have one.
The Miss Marvel one's supposed to be kind of funny and campy. The teenage girl.
Yeah. We the only reason, and this is, I mean, we were watching. YouTube has those videos. It's like top 10 trailers coming out in 2020. Who will watch it? And that actually played, and Haley was like, "Hey, I remember her from the Avengers game you were playing, because she's the main character of that game." So I was like, "Oh, okay, glad to know someone never pays attention to what I do." But I don't even think they even showed her main power until like more than halfway through the trailer for that. So
It is the first trailer. Remember, there will be more.
Oh
There
yeah,
are,
if this
yeah.
doesn't come out till mid-August, I'm sure we're going to get at least 2 more pretty good trailers. They're going to kind of they're going to give us an idea as to what the actual plot for the season is going to be.
I am very excited because they were showing. I watch all those videos where there's a few YouTube channels that'll like watch each individual scene to pinpoint, like Easter eggs and all that. And there was a bunch of shots with a bunch of thugs, but their weapons of choice were like crossbows, tire iron, weird stuff. And there is a gang in one of the Marvel comics for Wolf by Moonlight or Wolf by Midnight, something like that, who I just now started learning about. It's a comic series about a werewolf in Marvel. So I'm extremely excited for that because they did already say that they will be doing like a Halloween special for that particular comic. So there is a gang within that comic series that uses like crossbows, but they look like a biker gang, but they use crossbows and tire irons and just really off the wall, like weapons that you would normally see a gang using. So there's a lot of talk that this could be leading into a lot of MonsterVerse for the Marvel series, because there is Frankenstein MonsterVerse, there is we do have Dracula, there is the Wolfman, but I don't think he goes by the Wolfman. I think he honestly goes by Wolf by Moonlight or something. It's I don't remember his name. He's gray. He looks like a typical werewolf, but he actually does have a jumpsuit. Kind of reminded me of an X-Men, but he is part of that. And they did kind of dabble in like the movie monsters for Universal for a short time. So they do have those characters. And they're not actually like, oh, that's Frankenstein. It's actually like a big zombie. It's just a werewolf and stuff like that. So I think that they're kind of hinting that the She-Hulk series could lead into the MonsterVerse just ever so slightly. So I'm really excited for that to see if that actually does happen.
Nice.
The one thing that also did show up in this trailer is something that a lot of Marvel fans have been wondering if we were ever going to see again, and that was Blonsky, the Abomination. We actually see that he is, I mean, if we look at this trailer, we can kind of get the assumption that he can actually change form from Blonsky to the Abomination kind of at will
Darkseid.
now. Also, we're kind of wondering what...
Darkseid.
We're also kind of wondering what, I mean, because we did see him in Shang-Chi. He was kind of going through portals with Wong and that whole fighting scene. Hopefully we're going to get some answers as to what exactly that scene meant, because that was one of the things that left me kind of reeling when that movie came out. Is I was like, wait a minute, now Blonsky's here, he's hanging out with Wong, and then he's just gone and there's no more mention. I was like, whoa, that's a big thing to show us and just not deliver on why. But hopefully we'll kind of get an answer to why we saw that as well, because that was one of the things, after I saw that movie, I was like, wait a minute, I love this movie, except for I have a question now that needs answered. And hopefully we'll get the answer to that question. But yeah, I mean, we're finally getting the return of the Abomination, which is, I think it's kind of awesome. It's going to help kind of complete that circle that started so many years ago with the Incredible Hulk. But obviously I care about what you guys think. So go down in the comments below and let us know. Did you guys like the trailer for She-Hulk? Are you guys excited for kind of the Ally McBeal kind of theme that it's going to have? I think it's going to be more Marvel than it will be like a late 90s, early 2000s rom-com TV show, which is okay by me. But also, I wonder what effect it's going to have on the MCU moving forward, because we don't really know what the next big bad for the MCU is yet. I mean, because we're a couple of movies into Phase 4 now, and we don't really know what the next big threat is going to be. That's going to maybe bring all this new kind of group of Avengers together to fight as a group.
TVA.
So, TVA, I don't know. We've got another season of Loki coming up. We've got I don't know. Actually, I have no idea what they're doing with Moon Knight moving forward yet. But yeah, there's still a lot of questions to be asked. Hopefully, She-Hulk will answer a few of them and maybe give us a couple of more to keep us going. But yeah, go down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think. Lady Cora, what is the second story we're going to be going into tonight?
Well, some sad news. Fred Ward, a veteran actor who brought a gruff tenderness to tough guy roles in such films as The Right Stuff, The player in Tremors, has died. He was 79. Ward died Sunday. No cause or place of death was disclosed. Per the family's wishes, he earned a Golden Globe and shared the Venice Film Festival Ensemble Prize for his performance in Robert Altman's Shortcuts, and played the title character in Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. He also reached new heights playing Mercury 7 astronaut Virgil Gus Grissom in 1983's Academy Award-nominated film The Right Stuff. Frank, what do you remember most about Fred Ward? I'll tell you, I remember his voice. It was very iconic.
He did have one of those voices, like as soon as you heard it, you knew exactly who was talking without actually looking directly in his face. But the thing that sticks out to me in the last, since he passed away a couple days ago, is that he had everything that you needed to have to be the leading man in Hollywood, but never really got there. And for the life of me, as I've sat here thinking about it the last couple of days, I don't know why. I mean, because I was reading some of the, some of the stuff about him, some of the stuff that he was in. It's like he was in Escape from Alcatraz, where he played one of the Anglin brothers. He was in one of the best, like, Vietnam kind of war. It wasn't a Vietnam War movie. It was one of the movies that was really big in the early 80s about going back and trying to find those who were still missing in Vietnam, called Uncommon Valor, which itself had an amazing cast of, like, Gene Hackman, young Patrick Swayze, Randall Tex Cobb. I mean, if you've never
step away for a minute, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay. Sure. If you've never seen that movie it's an emotional, crazy ride for a war movie. It's not like any other war movie you've ever seen. And of course, he was in The Right Stuff. Of course, he could do the comedy thing very, very well.
He was the dad in Sweet Home Alabama.
He was the dad in Sweet Home Alabama.
That's what I couldn't remember. I knew there was something.
Yeah, he also he also did comedy very well. He played the bad guy in Naked Gun 33 1/3, and that's a great comedy movie. He also was in the Crow sequel, Salvation. His last role was as a father of one of the characters in True Detective just about a year ago. But the one that I remember him for, of course, as so many people in my age group might, is Tremors. That's one of the great sci-fi comedy movies of all time.
I've even seen that.
And that it in and of itself is kind of this really crazy kind of series of films that is kind of bounced all around. You feel like it's always worn out its welcome until they come out with the next ones. A couple of them, I think, went straight to DVD. But they're still watchable and fun movies. And very, very just crazy, goofy sci-fi comedy stuff. But, I mean, Jeremy, I don't know. What do you think? You've probably seen plenty of stuff with Fred Ward in it and probably didn't even realize it until you saw his face. You're like, wait a minute, he died? Again, just one of those guys he had leading man stuff but never quite got there. Jeremy, what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of odd that, he never did. Someone you'd think, like you said, has all the right makings of somebody who you think would be, but it's not like he didn't still absolutely kill it in anything he was in. I say Tremors is the one I would mostly associate him with, because that's a wild ride in itself.
And don't forget Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. That's one of the classic kind of action comedies that came from the 80s. I mean, it's a very odd movie when you kind of break it down, because it's like part comedy. It's almost a little bit of slapstick, but they try to make him this kind of like Jason Bourne, James Bond, roughneck, who you kind of diamond in the rough kind of guy who ends up becoming the hero. But it's got shades of like some of the martial arts movies from the 80s and things like that. It's just such a crazy fun movie to watch. But yeah, I mean, and he's got a history. It's a pretty crazy one. He used to be a boxer. He used to be a lumberjack in Alaska. And he was a short order cook for a while, joined the U.S. Air Force. He's part Cherokee, which that I didn't know. And he was also, of course, in Escape from Alcatraz in 1979, acting opposite Clint Eastwood. I mean, the guy's like I said, he had all the leading man stuff. And as I sit here and think about it, I cannot think about how he didn't get there. I mean, because he was one of those guys, like in the early 80s, he was the one that they would make sure they focused the camera on when he had his shirt off, because he had six-pack abs, and he was actually pretty cut, and like I said, good-looking. So why did this guy not blossom up the way that some of these actors did? I just don't know. Brooding Gamer, what do you think? I mean, any memories of Fred Ward?
I hate to say it, but this is one of the actors that I honestly don't know much about.
but you see, that kind of illustrates my point, though.
One of those E-list actor kind of sentiments, and he never got. I don't know, maybe he never wanted to be the star. Maybe he liked just being the guy who made just enough money, didn't want to be famous.
Did I hear who said he was in Tremors?
Yeah,
Frank
he was Kevin Bacon's friend in Tremors, the guy that was with him.
Okay, I'll have to. I own the big pack of that movie, so honestly, I'll watch that tonight when I get off here and be like, him. I'm unfortunately I'm drawing a blank on him at the moment.
He has a unique voice that stands out.
Okay,
That's how I remember him.
He was also in a bunch of. I mean, he was in what was it? National Lampoon's Road Trip or whatever it was with.
Joe Dirt. He was also in that Corky Romano, like silly slapstick shit.
Yeah, he was in that. Yeah, he was in a ton of stuff. But like I said, it's really weird that he never became kind of the leading man. I don't understand how that happened, but I mean, it just didn't for whatever reason. Of course, Kevin Bacon took to Twitter talking about how he missed talking to him and and reminisced about some of the conversations that they had when they were on the set of Tremors. Turned out they were, because if those of you who don't know, Kevin Bacon's and his brothers are in a band called the Bacon Brothers. Duh. And as it turned out, Fred Ward was also a bit of a musician himself, kind of an amateur hobbyist musician. So he talked about how they had spent time talking about different musicians, different instruments, different musical stuff, and that was one of the ways that they had bonded on the set. It was this great love for music. But yeah, it's very disappointing to hear about his passing. But I mean, 79. I mean, that's not a bad run. He put in some good innings. So. And we're all the better for having had some of his work on celluloid. I'm telling you right now, Tremors, Uncommon Valor, and Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. Those are the three movies that I will when I hear his name, I'll always think of those. I think they're fantastic movies, especially Uncommon Valor. Like I said, it is not a typical war movie. It's a very emotional film, But yeah. But what do you guys think? I mean, share some of your memories about Fred Ward in the comments below. What were some of your favorite roles that he was in? Again, he was acting fairly recently. I think it was just last year. He played the father of, I want to say Matthew McConaughey in True Detective. I'm not 100% sure. I've only seen bits and pieces of the show. I'm not as into it as some other people are. But yeah, that was his last acting credit as far as I could find. But rest in peace to Fred Ward, one of the great actors that I'm always going to remember. Somebody who I watched for a long, long time. Lady Cora, what's the next story we're going to be going into tonight?
Well, sound the cowbells. Christopher Walken is officially the ruler of the known universe, and not just in a movie about ping pong. Last week, it was announced that the legendary actor has been cast as Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV in Dune Part 2. He joins a stellar, stacked cast, which includes Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson, and Josh Brolin. The Emperor was the final major role to be filled in the anticipated Denis Villeneuve-directed sequel. Florence Pugh and Austin Butler will also be appearing as new faces in the upcoming film. Jeremy is the cure to your fever walking in Dune 2. Nice pun.
I was going to say something there, but I would say it to Frank's face. I can't say it on YouTube. Well, I mean, somebody who has as much range as Christopher Walken, I mean, I like to keep it, the fun stuff, like the cowbell and trying to kill this bastard little mouse in Mouse Hunt, I like the fun stuff, but I'm also like, you know what? He can play something with some depth, something a little more serious. I mean, that's cool. I didn't expect them to put this movie into two parts, but I mean, when Zendaya basically kind of did but did not break the fourth wall and be like, yeah, this is only the beginning, I'm like, oh, fuck you. There's going to be two movies, aren't there? Damn it. I don't know. I mean, that's cool. Hey, man, if you're going to get a big name, you might as well get somebody,
All I can say is,
theaters,
wow.
Yeah, Andrew had like Florence Pugh. I mean, again, you had to. You had me at walking, all right, but you had to go that hard.
It's been a while since he's been in anything, to my knowledge.
I mean, he's still out there. Maybe not like as.
He plays a lot more minor cameo roles, to my knowledge, these days.
He was in some TV series called The Outlaws recently, and a TV series called Severance.
Yeah, I was going to say
the movie he did was 2 years ago called Wild Mountain Thyme, which was a stupid love story. It's not worth your time.
Okay, noted.
Goliath.
Well, I was gonna say he had one scene in Pulp Fiction, but still, it was one of the greatest damn things you've ever seen, only because it's Christopher Walken.
Everything with Christopher Walken is 10 times better.
Yeah.
The only reason people flocked to go see Sleepy Hollow was because fucking Christopher Walken.
The Headless Horseman.
Balls of Fury, man. He's a yeah. One of the
I even
weirdest
caught your goddamn
movies.
joke. You're like not just ping pong. I'm like, fuck you. Goddamn it. I'm like, I'm mad that I know exactly what you're talking about.
I love that movie. It's perfectly fine to love that movie.
It's that dumb humor where I'm like, no, this is okay. This is actually funny.
He actually has something in common with the gentleman we just spoke of, Fred Ward. They were both in the same movie, Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken was in Joe Dirt.
I think. Yeah, he was. He was
I gotta
some
go back and
character
watch
called
that.
Clem.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that too. We're watching Tremors and we're watching that too.
The crazy thing about Christopher Walken is that he's such a great actor in everything that he's in, but sometimes you'll hear that he had been cast in a certain role, and you kind of look at it and you kind of turn sideways and squint your eyes. You're like, I don't know if I see him in that role until you see him in costume, like on camera, and you're like, oh, okay, it works. It seems like every time I hear his name attached to something now, I'm like, I don't know, and then I see it, I'm like, oh, okay, the director and the cast people saw something that I didn't.
When you go and you tell someone it's Christopher Walken, Headless Horseman, like that's not exactly. I go back to that old Bing Crosby song that they put over this really old Disney video. It was the Sleepy Hollow of Mr. Toad, The Adventures of Mr. Toad and Ichabod Crane. And all I hear is him galloping on the chair and hearing "wow" like the whole time. It's just like,
well, you also don't expect to be like, all right, he's gonna play this war vet who hid a watch in his ass for so many years. And you're like, yep, I see it. He's gonna kill it.
Molds into any role you tell him to, and I honestly think that a lot of actors can't do that, and a lot of actors can.
My favorite role of his is the exterminator in Mouse Hunt.
I was about to say, I think that's my first experience. That's what I was saying.
In the end.
He creeped me out in that.
Really?
I remember Mouse Hunt vaguely, and I do remember Christopher Walken. I was like, why'd Mom and Dad buy this movie for me? Like, I was just like,
that was not a kid's movie, I swear.
This isn't Mickey.
It's a fun movie to watch now as an adult, but I was like, okay.
A little dark.
It's kind of goofy, almost kind of Tom and Jerry-ish. Just,
with a Tim Burton twist.
Yeah, with two brothers.
Did Tim Burton do that movie?
I have no idea. I'll look now.
I don't.
He better not. Well, Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp are not in it, so no, he did not.
And Winona Ryder isn't either. So
or
nope.
Verbinski.
Johnny Depp is the mouse. Are you kidding me?
The thing with Christopher Walken is he's so good because he's been acting. I just heard this for the first time since 1953.
Oh my god!
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I was gonna say I just watched this thing. I saw Oscar Isaac on SNL. You want to talk about casting? He's all in good fun. He makes a joke. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Guatemalan and Cuban." So obviously they had me play Timothy Chalamet's dad. I'm like, yeah, I see it. He's like, yeah, they think I can play a pharaoh or Timothy Chalamet's daddy. It's weird. I'm like, yeah. He's like, and I have like 4 names because he's Guatemalan. He's like, I told Hollywood you can pick 2 of those names. What they do? They pick the 2 whitest names. I'm like, you're right.
There's even a Madonna music video.
Okay.
He's done everything.
I feel like I knew that.
Well, she did the theme song to At Close Range, which is a movie that starred him and Sean Penn back in the early 80s, which is a really good movie. I've actually got it saved in my queue on Amazon Prime. I just haven't had a chance to sit and watch it. It's one of the movies I'd really like to sit and do like a retro review on because it's one of those really tense emotional dramas that were one of the staples of 80s filmmaking. But a little bit about the character. The villainous character did not appear in Villeneuve's first installment of the sci-fi epic. However, he is the impetus for the film's entire plot. Threatened by the popularity of Duke Leto, a devastatingly ripped Oscar Isaac, who will be sorely missed from the second movie. Spoiler alert. R.I.P. He sabotages House Atreides by granting them control over the thankless desert planet Arrakis and enlisting Baron Harkonnen to launch an attack. Dune Part 2 will pick up with Paul, played by Timothée Chalamet, and the Freemen teaming up to protect Arrakis from the Harkonnens and the Emperor. So we're probably going to see... We didn't see a whole lot of like actual battle and fighting in the first Dune film. I mean, there was definitely a lot towards the end, but it sounds like this one's going to be a little bit more action-y than maybe the first one was.
Isn't it confirmed this is the second of 3 in a trilogy, basically?
Are they making 3? Because I know that they had originally, like the first Dune movie that came out in 1984. I know originally that, God, who did the first one? Was it Fichtner? David Lynch. David Lynch's 1984 adaptation, he had meant to do a sequel, but wanted to make sure that the movie itself was kind of a complete thing before he moved on to like trying to do a sequel, and then the sequel for one reason or another just never happened. So that's why the first Dune movie is kind of its own contained thing. But nowadays, because sequels are all the rage, because if one thing takes off, you definitely want to do 5 more of them. That with sequels being all the rage, it seemed kind of like a easy thing with as much money as the movie made that it was going to get a sequel. So it's not really surprising anymore.
Maybe at least this time we'll actually have Zendaya and not just like a million damn glamour shots of her just staring at him like a creep. Yeah. She was in the movie for like she was actually there for like the last like fucking 10 minutes of the movie or half hour. I don't even fucking know how long it was.
I didn't know this guy directed Arrival.
The movie was like 10 hours long. I didn't remember how long she was there, but she was actually there. And I think we talked about this when we did the review. People were like, "Oh my god, why is she basically just Zendaya? Why is she Mary Jane?" Like, because she does that well. She's just kind of a dick.
Tom Cruise plays Tom Cruise in every movie, and we all pay billions of dollars to go see his shit.
And then we pay to watch him run.
He's getting some award at Sundance Film Festival for being like just awesome or something. It's like,
well, good for him.
Else?
Well, he's drinking unicorn semen or some shit like that. That's how he's 700 years old and still looks like he's 40.
Great. Let's go back to the Mummy.
He took some pages out of Patrick Stewart's book because that motherfucker hasn't aged either. And Keanu Reeves.
Well, let's hope he doesn't die.
And Eminem.
I love that.
Yeah, and
Keanu Reeves is looking a little grizzled, but he still looks good.
You know what
I mean? Actually just watched Constantine the other day with him.
Fantastic fucking movie, right?
Paul Rudd too is not aged. I don't know what his secret is.
Paul Rudd is not aged.
No.
Not much,
because
though.
He's Ant-Man, you guys. He disappears and comes back.
I don't know.
Moving time through Scott.
Yes.
Not moving Scott through time. Moving time through Scott.
Or maybe you don't age in the Matrix or something. I don't know.
No, it's the quantum realm. Remember, time passes differently in the quantum realm. It's where he sleeps.
You hate time travel.
I do hate time travel. The quantum realm isn't time travel. Well, it's whatever. However the hell they made it work. I don't know. This is why I hate time travel.
Shut up and eat your orange slices.
Don't you? I got the car right back there. Don't you tell me Back to the Future's bullshit.
It's fantastic.
Back to the Future lied to me?
What?
Terminator, hot tub time machine.
But obviously we care about what you guys think, so let us know. You're going to be getting some more spice, baby, some more cowbell in Dune Part 2 with the casting of Christopher Walken. I think the movie's going to be dope. I mean, I really like the first Dune. It's one of my favorite movies to come out last year. It was everything I wanted it to be. It was a lot of people tend to get turned off by the stuff that is labeled as kind of sci-fi, but it's really kind of deep and philosophical and delves into other things. But this movie, Dune got a lot of praise for the way it was presented, and I was very glad. I thought it was a good movie. I'd be able to see the second part.
For the world it makes, yeah.
But go down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think of Christopher Walken being cast in Dune 2. Hey, Lady Cora, what is the next story we'll be talking about today?
Speaking of traveling, Jon Watts is traveling to a galaxy far, far away. The Spider-Man trilogy director has created and will helm a new Star Wars series for Disney+. Vanity Fair reported in a Tuesday cover story about the sci-fi franchise's upcoming offerings on the small screen. Still mostly under wraps, Watts' series, codenamed Grammar Rodeo, a reference to an episode of The Simpsons, in which Bart and his schoolmates steal a car and run away for a week. It was described in Vanity Fair as in the tone of a classic Amblin coming-of-age adventure film of the 1980s. Watts' show will take place closely after the events of Return of the Jedi, much the same way as The Mandalorian, as far as time period. Frank, we speculated where Watts would end up after he left the Fantastic Four film. Are you surprised he ended up here?
I actually kind of am. Is it just a bigger
paycheck, you think?
I don't think it has anything to do with the paycheck. I think it has more to do with a lot of the creative stuff.
Okay.
But I thought that he would stick with the Marvel stuff, because remember, Marvel and Lucasfilm are separate things that are all both just owned by Disney. And I really thought that he was going to stick on the Marvel side with Kevin Feige. So, and that's why I was speculating if they came to an agreement that he was going to step away from Fantastic Four so that maybe John Krasinski could come in, which I think in the next week or so we're probably going to get that announcement too, now that this is actually dropped. I really thought that he had looked around and said, is there another Marvel property you want to take a shot at? And if I were him, I might have, and I wanted to stay in Marvel, I might have said, you got X. Well, now officially, after the events of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and we saw Professor Xavier, now we know that mutants do exist somewhere in this zeitgeist, so why wouldn't he want to go do an X-Men film? Because the X-Men...
Maybe he didn't have a choice. Maybe they needed someone to do this project and they had nobody, and they trusted his talent, and they basically made him.
They may not have had a choice. He had a choice. He could have said, fuck you.
Really?
He could have said
even if he's on a contract, he doesn't have to direct something if he doesn't want to?
Hey, both sides of the negotiating whatever have to adhere to the contract. So if he had signed on to the contract to direct Fantastic Four, it wasn't necessarily about what Marvel wanted, it was about what he wanted to do. But if Kevin Feige and him got together, and they have a great working relationship, they've worked together before, if they got together and Kevin Feige said, hey, look, I want to put Krasinski to direct this Fantastic Four thing. Obviously, he knew a long time ago that Krasinski was going to show up in Doctor Strange 2 as Reed Richards. He wants to direct. Are you willing to step off of this, and we'll give you whatever prime choice of a Disney property you wanted? And Jon Watts says, sure, why not? I mean, I'm buddies with Kevin Feige. I'm still going to be involved in all this crazy kick-ass stuff that's been going on since 2010 or 11 when Iron Man first came out. It's like, why not just say, yeah, sure. I mean, I've got the pick of projects that I want to do across Marvel and now apparently Star Wars. Yeah, I mean,
so it's not like
the two biggest franchises in the world. The two biggest franchises in the world, and I can pick whatever I want to do in either one of them. Meh, sure, why not? Krasinski can have Fantastic Four. Who gives a shit? And then he goes and does Star Wars. Now, it's going to be a Disney Plus thing. Star Wars has been killing it with the Disney Plus stuff. And the way they've got it described here is being kind of like a coming-of-age 80s thing set in roughly the same time frame as The Mandalorian in the period following the events of Return of the Jedi. It's going to be kind of interesting to see. So, I mean,
think there'll be crossover with this eventually with the next season of Mandalorian?
I don't know.
I
doubt it will cross over with the next season.
I think so, because I think we're contractually obligated to put Mandalorian in every fucking show that Star Wars ever puts out now.
It certainly seems like that sometimes, doesn't it?
Because they made a point to say that it was the same timeline, like the same time period.
I think that's where all this stuff is popping off, and it seems to be doing well. But I'm like, yeah. You know what? If it starts doing the Boba Fett thing, where it's like, hey, we have like 3 or 4 good episodes, that's dropping off. Let's just put Mando in there for like 2 more episodes. Fuck him. He'll save it. I'm not mad. I love Mando. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad if I keep seeing him. However, you have your own show. I don't care if you cross over, but man, you have your own show. Just don't take over some other. I don't know why you bothered making a whole episode and you've.
Is it just me?
What?
Go ahead.
Well, was that maybe the joke? Because in the original trilogies, you only see Boba Fett for a hot minute, ever. That was maybe the joke, but I'm like, I don't think you're that deep-rooted to understand it. Like, oh yeah, we have this awesome character we're following that we already know and established. And you see Boba Fett for a hot second, you're like, oh my god, that guy was so awesome. He's so amazing. Let's write all this fanfic about him. And then Disney can crap on it like 30 years later and then crap it back out saying that they did it. But whatever, I digress. I'm not mad.
You don't want him to be a ratings bitch anymore. You just want him to stay in his own show.
I don't know. I just don't mind it. I don't mind him being in the. We know these characters all exist together. I'm just saying, don't do a whole 40-minute episode and then for the last 30 seconds you see Boba Fett again. I'm like, this is his show, right?
They did name it after him, right? So in theory.
I think so. I don't know anymore.
Well, I doubt that there's going to be a lot of crossover with the third season of Mandalorian because I really doubt that they're probably very early on in what they're doing with Jon Watts' particular project, and they probably right about now are wrapping up season 3 of Mandalorian. So maybe season 4, but again, it kind of depends. I don't know. We don't yet know where this upcoming season of Mandalorian is going to take Din Djarin. We don't have any clue at all what Jon Watts' particular story is going to be about. So maybe it's going to be something that's happening like on the other side of the galaxy, for anybody knows.
Well, speaking of the shows, can we just talk for a second about? I mean, you want to talk about crossovers and ambitious crossovers. I'm like, can we talk about the fact that we had Cassian, Mando, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan all in the same room, and they did that thing for, was it Vanity Fair or something? Andy Leibovitz did all the photo shoots for it. Like, that is a moment that is so goddamn cool.
Like the 3 Spider-Man photo they put out.
Yeah, it's like they're all 4 together in the same room. They all took that picture. That's legit, and they put them on this cover of this magazine. And I'm like, and again, Andy Leibovitz. How do you not?
She's a gift.
How do you not love that? Like, and especially since they all have their own show or have one coming up. Like I said, we got Cassian, we got Mando, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan. Like, but my last bit was I'm like, on the flip side of that, if you saw what Kathleen Kennedy just came out and said, 2 things that made me giggle in my chair, or wherever I was at. She was like, yeah, Star Wars it's about telling continuous stories, not about trilogies anymore. I'm like, yeah, because you realize that shit didn't work. And all this shit is phenomenal and it's taking off. And that they said, oh, well, we shouldn't try to cast new people as these classic Star Wars characters anymore. Yeah, Solo gave us a big lesson with that. I'm like, okay, first of all, that wasn't a bad movie. I thought Dude did pretty good. That's some big shoes to fill. You can't... I think, like Frank always says, like, your speculation and your expectation, like, you're just going to keep seeing Harrison Ford. It's not him, and you're going to keep pissing yourself off because you know it's not him. So you think it sucks. I think that's what drug that movie down. I'm like, I did it for a minute. I was, like, trying to feel, I'm like, do I see this guy? Well, I didn't say Harrison Ford. I said, do I see this guy as a young Han Solo? And I'm like, you know what? I do. And from there, it just kind of overrode in my brain, and I was like, I like this. I think that's what hung a lot of people up. But I mean, she came out and said those 2 things, and I just laughed. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you just need to let Dave and John do their thing.
They do seem to be building up to. I do find it odd that all these Disney Plus shows that Star Wars are putting out are all taking place in the period of time after the events of Return of the Jedi. So I wonder if maybe they're not kind of like, because like Boba Fett, Mandalorian, this show, I'm assuming the Ahsoka show is going to be in the same time period.
Yeah.
So that's like 4 shows now that they have kind of all taking place in the same period of time in the universe. I'm wondering if some of this stuff is going to kind of lead into what becomes the First Order. Like if we start to see some of like the rise of the First Order that we would eventually see in The Force Awakens, that kind of thing. So I'm wondering if maybe we're not going to get a little bit of that, because I think it would be kind of interesting to see, to kind of see that little bit of growth happening kind of in the background while we're watching these characters. We're seeing kind of the First Order come together while these guys are all doing their thing. I think it'd be pretty interesting. I don't know.
I mean, I like that. I'm assuming maybe Cassian's going to be around the same time as Obi-Wan, right? Because that's right before the Empire starts to gain traction, right? And they're all the Inquisitors are trying to hunt down the rest of the Jedi.
Actually, the Cassian Andor show, doesn't that take place before
Rogue One?
No, I think it would be right about it would be before Rogue One, but that would be right about the time that Obi-Wan is on Tatooine guarding Luke.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm wondering if, like Mando, I guess Boba Fett now and Ahsoka are kind of after Return of the Jedi, along with Luke. I don't know if they're going to keep doing Luke or not. Because someone said, like, oh, Luke's got a new big bad. I'm like, does he? Okay. I just kept scrolling. I don't know. I just kept scrolling.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. If I see it again,
sorry.
Oh, no, if I see it again, I'll open it. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, does anybody think Disney has an end game for Star Wars plot-wise, or are they just gonna carry this going like 20, 30 years?
Disney had their end game. It was in 2019.
A new one, I should say.
Like Lucasfilm specifically when it comes to the Star Wars stuff, yeah.
Right, are you saying another one?
I'm just wondering, I mean, when are they just going to keep pumping out new storylines? Or is it going to end at some point?
Necessarily new, or just fitting into this timeline that we now have of these 9 movies. I'm like,
maybe it's a stupid question, but it just I don't know.
Well, I mean, I was kind of like, wait, with these new movies, I'm like, oh, so we're going past Return of the Jedi now. I'm like, oh shit, this is okay. We're gonna get this new little timeline here, and then.
I'm not complaining. It's just interesting to me. I'm curious how it's gonna play out over the next 10, 20 years.
Well, when Kathleen Kennedy was talking in the last week or so, actually in the same interview where she said that they're not going to cast anybody younger actors to play younger versions of people like Luke, Leia, and Han, that they're done doing that. She also said that she wants to move past the Skywalker saga and start telling other stories. I vehemently disagree with that. I think that's fine. I think for the episodic stuff, you can still use the Skywalker lineage, which at the end of the last one, the Rise of Skywalker, you still have that exists in Rey. That you can still tell stories based on that lineage in the episodic films. But you can make other films. You can let that kind of be your crown jewel, but you can make other films like a Solo. You can do all these things like they're doing on Disney Plus, which has all been very, very good. I mean, even Boba Fett, as weird as that kind of went off the rails a little bit at the end, it was still a good show. Not quite The Mandalorian, but still a good show. You can still do those things and tell stories from different places around this universe. But you can still have the episodic stuff. What you need to learn from this newer Star Wars trilogy is that you need to have guidance from the beginning, the way that they didn't seem to have it for this one. They called J.J., and I've talked about this 100 times, they called J.J. Abrams, they say, we want you to put together this first movie. He puts together the first movie, and for all the people that want to complain that it's basically just kind of a rehash of A New Hope, it doesn't matter. A New Hope's a great fucking movie. I mean, I would rehash a great fucking movie. That movie was fantastic, and I thought got everything off on a great start. Next movie comes around, and there was no plan. They didn't talk to J.J. Abrams about saying, okay, we're going to do this, then this, then this, and those are our 3 movies. Let's structure our story and our progression of everything like this. It was just kind of like, okay, J.J. Abrams made his movie, he goes away to do whatever else, and now we're going to call in somebody else, and he's going to throw spaghetti against the fucking wall to see what sticks. And I'm like, that's why everything went wrong in the middle of all that. And then J.J. Abrams comes back, and he spends the first half of the Rise of Skywalker trying to kind of course correct from the last movie, and then the second half of that movie, things finally started to get good again because he was telling his own story. That's kind of where everything went wrong. If they can continue to make episodic films, as long as they do, like what Marvel, one of the things that has made Marvel successful is they're not just like finishing one movie and then saying, okay, what are we going to do next? Kevin Feige's planning this stuff out 5 and 10 years in advance. So that they can kind of course correct here and there, but for the most part, he knows what he's doing in 8 years. He knows what characters he's going to introduce in 5 years. He knows, that you need to actually introduce this character like 2 movies from now because that'll make sense. So that way, that little bit of course correcting, they don't have to do it on the fly while they're filming a movie. They start filming a movie knowing exactly what it needs to be. That the next movie is going to give us this, the next movie is going to give us that, and then we've already got these stuff planned on down the line. They didn't have that for this last trilogy, and I think that's why everything went to hell, was because, like I said, you just brought in a second director. It's like, okay, now I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and there was no plan, like Rey's lineage. It's like we're wondering, is she a child of Obi-Wan? Is she Luke's child? Is she what? Is she? There was a lot of speculation that she was Luke and Leia, or Leia and Han's daughter, so on and so on. It's like, I like the idea that her lineage was nobody, that she was just of the Force. That was my expectation going into it, because that would have been a nice callback to Anakin's lineage. But instead, it's like, okay, we're just making her related to somebody who we've already seen in the past. That part kind of disappointed me. I mean, it made sense the way he displayed it, but that kind of disappointed me. But I think he got forced because he didn't have a plan.
You could change the meme. Somehow raise the Palpatine.
Palpatine. Do any of you think would be interesting to have a continuation, maybe not now, maybe 5, 10, 20 years from now, to see what Rey's life was like as she got older.
I think they're eventually going to.
Expect that she's going to be a farmer and just not care.
I think they're eventually going to. I mean, I think she's going to play a part. Look, somebody's got to regrow the Jedi lineage, and who better than Rey? I really, it doesn't make any sense to me that if you're going to try to rebuild the Jedi, that she's just going to be hanging out moisture farming on Tatooine, drinking blue milk.
No, I'd hope not.
I know somebody who could have done it. I don't know. Someone like Ben Solo?
Yeah.
But where we leave the story off, he's not around anymore. Spoiler alert. So I mean, I
hear you, Jeremy.
I feel like that was,
either.
I think it makes perfect sense that several years down the line. Now, I know that Daisy Ridley said that she's not planning on coming back to do any more stuff with Star Wars, or she's kind of moved on from the whole thing. So was Oscar Isaac. So I think most of the people that were in the newer movies have said they're kind of done with it all. But we could see an older Rey being kind of what Luke was in the last couple of movies, just kind of being that mentor to the next generation of Jedi. And maybe she's the one who kind of like finally gets things arranged to where the Jedi will start to grow again. That could be a place that you could go in the next trilogy. But I think
you're not going to sit here and you're not going to show me that kid who just like force grabbed a broom out of nowhere and started sweeping. I'm like, fuck you, really? Hold on, there's still force sensitive people out here, and you just let that. Even if that kid wasn't important, the important point of it was that there were still people out there that were force sensitive. They at least had some grasp on what it was and how to kind of use it. So I don't know.
I think it would be a tremendous waste if they didn't try to revisit the episodic stuff again and tell. You don't have to tell the same story. It doesn't have to be about Darth Vader and Luke and the Emperor. You can bring other people into it and kind of expand the character base a little bit. But I think eventually you could do that and hire an older actress to play an older version of Rey.
I agree.
If Daisy really doesn't want to come back, or just wait 30 years, and if Daisy Ridley has made a hell of a voice career for herself doing, I don't know, maybe Batman villains or some shit like that, maybe she'll want to come back and she can be the one that grabs a lightsaber and tosses it over her shoulder and ruins that entire final scene. Ruined it for me. I will never ever forgive them for doing that, ever.
And then you can have Adam Driver come back as a Force ghost, just helping her out. I don't know.
Or hell, if Mark Hamill's still kicking, he can get back as a Force ghost.
Or the TVA show up and have been not killed.
It was Mephisto, damn it. It was Mephisto the whole time.
He was one of them little porgs. I knew something didn't look right about that little shit.
I don't know.
Tangent. I just was curious about it because it's been bothering me. We keep hearing about these little, series. I'm like, but in the back of my mind, I just eventually want to know what Rey's life was like after the movie ended.
I don't know. I think eventually they'll go back to that.
You don't drop a yellow lightsaber on me and then just be like, okay, bye. I'm like, no, come back here with that.
Well, look, I mean, there's still a lot of speculation as to whether Kathleen Kennedy is going to be around for much longer at Lucasfilm. There's still a lot of speculation that if and
I've
when
been waiting on that since like 2005.
There's still a lot of speculation that if and when she does leave, that Kevin Feige might bounce over there and take over Lucasfilm and let somebody else take over Marvel. There's a lot of stuff that's up in the air right now with Disney because a lot of the creatives there are not fans of Bob Chapek. So and I think that's one of the reasons why Marvel. I mean, look, I'll say it flat out. The Phase 4 stuff has been good so far. I really like Shang-Chi, but there has been this odd a difference in quality. I don't want to call it a decline just yet, but a difference in quality between the last everything from like Phase 2 on up until now. Everything in Phase 4.
So you're not accrediting that to Feige. You just think it's a Disney thing.
I think that when Bob Iger was in charge, he let the creative people do the creative stuff and he handled the business end. Now that Bob Chapek is involved, he's calling in a bunch of stuffed suits that went to Ivy League schools to make creative decisions, and they're taking some of that power away from people like the Russo brothers, which is why the Russo brothers have not yet re-signed to do anything else with Disney. I think that's a big part of it. I think they want to have creative control over the stuff that they do with Marvel, and he wants to try to keep a lot of that control in his office. And I think that's one of the reasons why why they haven't agreed to come back yet. And I'm not saying they won't, but I think that's one of the reasons why they haven't signed on to do more stuff in Marvel. I don't know. Pay attention. That's something that's going to evolve over time. But there is definitely a change in the quality of everything Marvel since Endgame. since the
Well, that's what I was going to say.
last effort. So
now that that's a fever pitch. It's just for cinema. Period. Holy shit.
yeah.
But is it like a kind of? As Thanos would say, it's inevitable. That's your peak, and now it's like, okay, now what? Now we're just kind of plateau running out here, or maybe not dipping. I'm not saying it's bad. I agree. All this stuff has been pretty cool, but now it's like, okay, but now where do we go? I was hoping the Eternals was going to be that, because I'm like, now we have stuff that's starting to destroy planets, starting to destroy entire universes. I'm like, there we go, bigger, like. Not just snapping half a universe away. Like, now we're blowing holes in the side of planets. I'm like, okay, cool. Also, we're not going to address that. I'm just saying, Iron Man, you'd think I didn't notice, but there's a hole in the planet. Okay. I don't know. Maybe that's what we're building to, and I'm okay with that. If we build with something big, like something like Galactus-sized.
Point.
But
that'd be the only way to top that, is what I'm saying. So I'm like, now that's why it feels weird. I'm like, okay, but where are we going with this? I don't know.
It could go tits up if he leaves to go do something else with Disney and they bring someone else in who fucks it all up. Who knows?
I don't know. Like I said, a lot of it's going to come down to the upper management people at Disney. Bob.
Did he do double duty? Kevin Feige?
He could, but
he's kind of busy, man. Oh.
Well, remember, all this is contingent on Kathleen Kennedy going away, and she may not want to go away. All she needs is a couple of hits, and she's right back in everybody's good graces, especially with the Star Wars stuff. Because, like I said, the last couple of movies didn't do great, but the stuff that they're doing on Disney Plus right now is killing it. So
I'm saying.
All she
that's
needs
why
is
she suddenly had her big epiphany, like, oh my god, that's what's wrong. Like,
so
really?
Maybe they spend
killing it the same thing as making money, though. I mean, Disney Plus is different than having movies that people pay to go see at the box office.
But they're critically acclaimed. The Star Wars fans are watching things like The Mandalorian and Ahsoka and stuff like that. Well, they like Ahsoka, but they're watching these things and they're thinking, oh yeah, these are good things. We like these. The last couple of movies were bad, but this stuff they're doing on Disney Plus it's actually hitting the spot with Star Wars fans, which is the important part. And it's getting critical time.
I still love that now. It's like, oh, you didn't realize it could be that bad. Well, those prequels ain't too bad. Then I'm like, that's exactly what I've been trying to tell you since 2005 when the third movie wrapped up. I'm like, it's not as bad as you really think. Maybe I'm biased because I grew up with them, but it's not like I haven't still watched them as an adult too. Like, I was still fairly young when those came out, and I was like, ooh, Star Wars.
Brooding Gamer hasn't had a chance to comment on this much because he had to step away for a minute. But what do you think about Jon Watts leaving Fantastic Four and now has signed on to do a new series for Disney Plus in the Star Wars universe? What do you think?
I was gonna say all of a sudden you went going dark. You got like night vision going on there. I like it.
Right. I didn't even know this gazebo had lights up until then. I was like, wow. Honestly, I think the whole reason he left was because he's just terrified that the movie's going to bomb anyway. We have not had a good Fantastic Four movie since...
The original
I don't know, when did... Yeah, thank you.
Some people would say ever.
I would say ever.
I was like, say it. We never did. But... First one
should we cut your contract with them and go into Disney? Do it. So, in my opinion... I think, honestly, he'd be better off doing that. It's a safer bet. Where I'm at with the whole Star Wars situation is I feel like they're pooping out Star Wars series quicker than they... Like, eventually they're going to have to run out of ideas. And they just keep crapping out a new series every other month or so, it feels like. And it's like, okay, so now not only do we have... I feel like burnout's going to be happening very soon. In just my personal opinion. We've got Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You said the Ahsoka's getting a show.
Yes.
Ahsoka. That would be 4. Then we've got. I heard you guys say another one was coming into the works.
Yeah.
So that's 5+ series that you've got all going on roughly around the same time. I'm all for it. I love Star Wars. I just rewatched the first 3, and I'm gonna go back and rewatch the rest of them.
How much time do you have in your day for this shit?
Why do you think we're all here?
They keep making them, but yeah,
right.
I'll watch them. Don't get me wrong. I will watch them. I honestly haven't even watched. I take that back. When we went to Disney last year on the car ride there, I watched the up to what episodes were out of The Mandalorian. So I was able to catch up and I didn't have anything else better to do. So I was like, I'll just kick back in my car seat and watch Mandalorian. The pickup, have a little sip.
You should look like Baby Yoda in the back seat with a little frog in his mouth, like.
As Haley would say, just take a little sippy sip. I'm all for all the Star Wars, just like, I'm all here for all the Jurassic World movies. But like, I think we should slow it down just a little bit, not be doing so many all at once, because yes, it is working.
It's working!
It's kind of like an up and coming YouTuber, and no pun intended on myself here. It's like you figured out what's working for you. So now you're just doing it all the time because it worked for you the first few. I think it does make money. I'm afraid that they're going to burn out and they're going to run out of ideas.
The head of Disney's kids will only watch Star Wars content, and to shut him up, he's making them make new content so he can shut his kids up.
There you go.
There you go. This is our big end cap now. We have episode 1 to episode 9, and we got all these little slots that we can fill in. There's plenty of gaps of time in between each trilogy. That's where I think they're going with it. So
I'm really going to be second guessing filming outside. That's all I can say.
You know what? Even if you do some of the stuff, I know it's the video games, but if you do some of the stuff from like Knights of the Old Republic, which takes place like 1,000 years before the first movie, that would be wicked. Like when you got the Sith all over the place when they ruled the galaxy. Holy crap! I want
a damn episode of something or a series of something proving that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith.
Oh my god!
We know that there's a Sith Gungan. I'm sorry, but when someone put concept art of a Sith Gungan, it looked cool. It looked like
It's in the non-canon game of Force Unleashed. There is a Sith Gungan that you do fight, and I'm like, well, that's fun.
Me's going to fuck you up.
That was probably just an Easter egg they put in there to shut up all you people that want to see Jar Jar.
Yeah, it was like a really
decrepit video proving that he is using drunken monkey style or something. That everything he does, thank you. Everything he does is particular and meticulous. I'm telling you, he's.
I entertain the idea. I'm not sold.
I don't care nonetheless. I think it would be cool.
I'm not sold. I'm just saying I'm just entertained by it. You watch him, like the way he moves his arms, and there is it's kind of, you can't unsee it. It's in episode 1. He literally mouths the same words that someone else is saying. You don't tell me he didn't just force, waving his hand around like a Jedi, and then he just mouthed the word that guy just said. I'm like,
you guys are letting your speculation become your expectation.
No. I saw it with my spectacles.
From the guy who's got Amber Heard and Jurassic Park in the same quote behind you. Don't even.
That is a clever. I like it. However,
I do like it. It just kills me because somebody had to sit there and be like, I think it's like, you guys hating on Jar Jar so much. Let me flip it on its head. And didn't even George Lucas come out and say that he despised Jar Jar? Like, wasn't there? I feel like he
didn't like where it went.
Oh yeah, I think he probably thought that Jar Jar was going to be a bigger deal. That he might be kind of like the one weird, goofy, non-human character that would kind of last the way that R2 kind of became.
We're talking about the Sith.
In one way, shape, or form, whether he intended to or not. It's like when you think of Star Wars, you always think of R2-D2. He's one of like the big positive characters. He's the little hero, the little engine that could sort of.
Yeah.
He thought that maybe he could recreate that with Jar Jar, and when he comes out with Episode 1, and like universally everybody's like, Jar Jar is terrible. And he was like, oh, okay, we're gonna back out Jar Jar for the second film.
You know why he's terrible? Visually, he's like, if you're Harry Potter fans, you know what I'm talking about. When Harry Potter's arm gets broken and the idiot just makes the bone disappear, Jar Jar walks around like he has no bones in his body, and it's just flesh and muscle flailing around. He's waiting for the bones to regrow.
He lives in the water. It's pretty fluid movement. I get why he does that. He's an alien.
But no, to my knowledge, rewatching that and you see the other Gungans, I don't think they walk like that. I think they're all, they do have that like Misa that thing going on, but I don't think any of them are nearly as like stupid as him. I don't know if he just fell on a rock when he came out of the egg or what happened to Jar Jar.
Wait 1 week. The new Star Wars miniseries is going to be Jar Jar growing up from birth.
God.
when we
If there's
saw
a
him.
nobody
If
will
they
watch.
did that, if they did that, I would be calling for the firing of Kathleen Kennedy.
That will be the new series. It'll be fucking Jar Jar.
I
No.
bet it's that or who created the C-3PO, you know, and,
Well, that was
and
Anakin.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying from the start.
Well, that show's done.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there
Episode
was
1 done.
I feel like I mean, maybe not R2, but like the closest, next character, you probably think of is like C-3PO. I'm like, well, who's also kind of the goofy, kind of weird C-3PO? I'm like, he's probably the closest thing to that, just not
R2.
No, I'm saying like Jar Jar and C-3PO are kind
I
of
think
the
he's
goofy.
excused. He's like Data from Star Trek. He doesn't have an emotion chip. He's supposed to be ridiculous.
He has an emotion. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
dear.
shocked and upset about everything that RT says and does.
He's
Okay.
even got the face.
Yeah, he really did.
Oh my.
We did. If anyone's been watching our stream, and you should be, because there's 10 of you, and I'm gonna tell you again, watch our goddamn stream. The Lego Star Wars game. It's so funny, his damn face, because like when they're in episode 4, and the guy's like, the stormtrooper's like, "Did you hear that?" He's like, "What was that?" He's like, probably another drill." And it just pans over, and there's C-3PO with an actual drill, just going just straight
Oh,
facing.
that's what I love.
And Obi-Wan's like, everyone's like, stop.
Well, I do
That's
wanna,
why I love the Lego games.
Yeah,
I do want to touch
It's
on
the
something
humor.
Brooding Gamer said real quick before we move on to the retro review. Is he talked about kind of the market being saturated with Star Wars, and that's something that I've been kind of worried about for a while now. Is one of the things that I think helped make The Force Awakens pop the way it did is that it was the movie we thought we were never going to get. We thought we were done getting Star Wars material. There was we never thought in a million years we were going to get TV shows like The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. We never thought in a million years we'd get another episodic film, that we would ever see episodes 7, 8, 9. We never thought that. So one of the things that made that special is it was the gift that we never thought was ever going to come to fruition. We never thought this would be. And then we see it, and it's a very good movie, and we're happy to be back in that universe. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now that we have the streaming stuff with Disney Plus, we need stuff to put on it. Why not more Star Wars stuff? And then it's like we went from not knowing if we're ever going to get a Star Wars thing ever again to it seems like every year we get 2 or 3 more Star Wars products that are put in front of us on the screen. So now I kind of wonder, are we getting to that point where we're saturating a little bit? We're devaluing the thing that was very valuable by having so much of it out there. That's been my fear.
But on the flip side, like you always say, with reboots, remakes, rehash, redrawing, rehydrating, I don't fucking know. If it sucks, you still have the good stuff.
And that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
That's true, but one of the reasons why those things like the original trilogy and stuff like that lasted was because that one piece of art was carried through from generation to generation. Whereas this coming generation they're not really experiencing A New Hope the way that we did as the only piece of Star Wars that was out there, with the exception of the expanded universe stuff and some of the books and writings and things like that, comic books and video games and stuff like that. They're not experiencing that one piece of art. I could paint 20,000 Mona Lisas, and I could make them every bit as good, use the same brushstrokes as Da Vinci, but it's never going to be as valuable as the one Mona Lisa. Once I paint 30,000 of those, all those things are going to diminish the value. And I think I'm afraid that's one of the things that's going to happen, is that as we go forward, other generations are not going to understand how important this franchise and any other franchise that is now just proliferating, that is reproducing like rabbits. I mean, it's like it's now everywhere. So I think it devalues the story, it devalues the characters and the stories they try to tell. That's my concern.
It's almost like too much merchandise is flooding the store market, and you don't really care about getting the new shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was about to talk about. As someone who's been flooding toy aisles left and right for Jurassic World content, they can't even keep up with themselves when it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Half the time they're popping something out, and I feel bad for like Mattel. I think it's Mattel who's currently doing Star Wars toys, or Hasbro. We don't really talk about Hasbro though. Mattel,
We don't
if
talk
it is
about
Hasbro, no, and we're copyright.
Yeah.
I feel like they're like, okay, guys, we're still so the new Jurassic World movie. Actually, we're on Star Wars Episode 22, but we just got done doing Episode 19. What happened to 21? Oh, that one's already. Hasbro took them over just to help us with the overflow. It's like nobody can keep up, and I've noticed every time in. I want to say when Dominion toys first started rolling out, when I first started picking my channel back up, I would go out to 9 or 10 stores a day for 3 days in a row, no joke. And every single time I went, there were new Star Wars things, something that wasn't there the day before. And I'm just like, how are they keeping up with this? Like, I didn't record that stuff, of course, because Star Wars wasn't what I was focusing on. But I just noticed, like, it was just left and right something new Star Wars every single time. And there was even stuff in there from The Force Awakens still. Like, I found a couple things. I don't know if they're kind of doing like a rehash of certain toys or brands or whatever they're doing, but it's just like merchandise for Star Wars. Like, hell, Disney just is already in the works of talking about opening up another section for Star Wars. They just did Galaxy's Edge a few years back, I'd say, because they just opened up Rise of the Resistance, which you still can't get on, by the way. I'm pretty sure there's still people in line from when we went last year. It's just like they're already talking about opening up a new ride, and now Star Wars is quickly starting to flood in through Disney, which for me, I'm not okay with that because I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't really care nonetheless. It's one of those, like, I don't have to go there if I don't want to. It's not like I'm never going to Disney again because there's Star Wars now, and that's not my Disney. Like, nothing like that. Oh.
I just saw that.
Ooh. Is there about to be a T-Rex in a toilet here in a second? Jesus.
You saw it live, people.
Wow.
That was awesome.
We're doing it live. We're doing it scary as hell for you people.
Somebody timestamped that. That's when he about died. That's the clickbait.
Be okay.
Better rush the wedding and sign the life insurance papers.
Brooding Gamer explodes? Question mark.
Watch what happens.
But it's just like, hey. One of the things I noticed though when we went to Disney, I don't know if you noticed, Hun, but left and right there were signs, no lightsabers, all over the place because. What? You can buy lightsabers now at gift shops. You can buy. I do remember that one store would only sell you. It was a replica of the Han Solo blaster and Darth Maul's lightsaber.
Hey,
why Darth Maul specifically?
Why would you not want a good blaster by your side?
Why would they not let you bring one in if you can buy one in?
No, what I'm getting at is they would let you buy one, but you couldn't take it with you. They would ship it to your house for you.
That's weird.
They didn't want people walking. I can see it because now these days, like, shootings are quicker than pop up than anything.
True.
But like at the same time, I found it weird that it's like you can have these lightsabers, please don't swing them. Darth Maul's lightsaber, on the other hand, we need to have a talk. This isn't working out. Like, that's where they draw the line. But I'm just like. And then I thought that was weird, and then I learned that at Epcot you can buy samurai swords and knives and Viking weapons and axes in their respective locations.
Contradictory policy.
What?
That's a really contradictory policy.
That is very, very odd.
Well, you could buy them, but those were things that they would ship out. So that's when I was like, oh, that's really weird. And then I was reading up on it. It's like, this is not new. This has been going on ever since Epcot existed. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. But why Darth Maul though? Like, his is the coolest lightsaber in my opinion. So why are we dissing on his? But I found it funny that Star Wars took over in certain Disney areas, and now you're seeing signs for no lightsabers in places where Disney's not even relevant. So like Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom. I was just like, so what if I'm in like line for dinosaur? Do I have to worry about fucking
you might see signs
Anakin Skywalker
store.
come up and whopping my head?
Disney has merchandise in. You know?
Yeah.
Or what you do, like a true Jedi, is you just go make your own lightsaber. That's what you should do.
For $500.
Yeah,
you want to get
it. I've heard about that.
No, I didn't mean I didn't mean that. I mean, go to your local Home Depot, not sponsored. Go to your local Lowe's, not sponsored.
Oh,
go just
for $900.
No, go, in this inflation, I don't know. Go sit in the plumbing section for a hot minute. You're gonna start seeing it. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That chrome-plated tube, that little O-ring, those little nuts and bolts, that little piece of pipe. Hold on, for like $30
coming together.
Here's a lightsaber. Holy crap! I'm just saying, just for the lore, Jedis make their own lightsabers. Just go make your own, and you can customize it however the hell you want. That's the fun of it. And you can make them combat ready.
Who made his own lightsaber?
You know,
It's legit.
You mean like the hacksmith?
there are sexual toys that look like lightsabers. You might as well just take one of those and
Look, man.
tape it to a broom handle.
Zoom. Wobble, wobble, wobble.
But if you were force sensitive, you wouldn't need a toy. You could just like wave your hands.
I feel like force sensitive.
You are having an orgasmic evening.
I feel like force sensitive is like a fucking setting on that thing.
You're looking for. Sorry.
Do you think
moving on from that, thank God.
Play Duel of the Fates.
Before this devolves any farther into something that YouTube is not going to like. Obviously.
Let the record show Cora.
You mean we're not there yet? Wow. Their standards have dropped.
Yeah.
Frank isn't there yet. We have to stop.
Why aren't we monetized yet? Jeez, this is gold.
I don't know. We'll get there eventually. But actually,
I show toys.
we do care about
How
what you
am
guys
I?
think. So go down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think about, I don't even remember what the story was, Jon Watts going to Star Wars. And leaving Marvel, going over across the galaxy to Star Wars, and doing a Disney Plus show instead of doing the Fantastic Four film. But, moving on now.
Ooh.
As you guys know, we've been doing some retro movie reviews over the course of the last couple of years while the pandemic had slowed down all the news and review possibilities that we could have done on the channel. And we're getting back to that. And in the lead up to the release of Jurassic World Dominion, we're breaking down all the Jurassic World movies one by one until we get to the new one, and we'll break that one down when it comes out. Today we're going to be going over The Lost World Jurassic Park, or Jurassic Park 2. Lady Cora, why don't you give us a little bit of details about this movie?
All right. Well, this movie picks up 4 years after the disaster at Jurassic Park. On a nearby island known as Site B, dinosaurs have secretly survived and been allowed to roam free. But now there is a more ominous threat from InGen, a plan to capture and bring the dinosaurs to the mainland. John Hammond, who has lost control of his InGen company, sees a chance to redeem himself for his past mistakes and sends an expedition led by Ian Malcolm to reach the island before the mercenary team gets there. The two groups confront each other in the face of extreme danger and must team up for their own survival in a race against time. Released on May 23rd, 1997, I feel old. The film received mixed reviews from critics who praised the visuals and action sequences, but criticized the writing and character development. Sorry. Yeah, I agree. The film was a box office success, grossing over $618 million worldwide against just a $73 million budget and becoming the second highest grossing film of 1997. It earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Visual Effects, losing to Titanic, not surprised. Jeff Goldblum and Richard Attenborough were the only two characters to return from the first film, except for that cameo of the kids. But they were joined by Julianne Moore and Vince Vaughn. Jeremy, what do you think of The Lost World, Jurassic Park?
Well, unlike your hating ass, I like the movie.
I didn't like the character development. The kid drove me nuts.
Everybody.
His daughter?
Yeah,
Yes.
most annoying kid
His daughter
ever.
did not get.
She was awful.
Daddy.
She is birth control for me. Children like that make me not want to have children.
Well, I'm gonna take
She
a wild.
killed a raptor.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a wild shot. No, wait. I was like, wait, did she? Like, no, she did. She kicked out the window. Maybe it got like impaled or some shit.
Yeah, but it was
I
still
think
kicking. It probably wasn't dead.
It was gonna die. The other one probably ate him. Like, fuck him. Well, I was gonna say, you're talking about that, birth control for Ian Malcolm. Like, I'm gonna go out on a wild limb here and say I don't think that was genuinely his kid, but As
I'm
they said in
just
the movie.
saying,
Did you
the way
see
they wrote
any
her
family
character-
resemblance here?
Was it Kimmy or Gimme or something? Sweet kid in principle. It's just the way they wrote her. It just.
She's a kid. I don't.
Why was she even there?
Ellie?
She should not have been on the island. She shouldn't have snuck into
no.
the things.
You weren't
Well, it's
gonna
not
put
like
her.
they openly welcomed her to be like, hey.
I
Well,
just think the movie would have been better without the kid there, but who knows?
well, he just bomb dropped. They had 4 kids. I'm like, well, at least we saw one.
You know what? Just don't listen to me. You know what?
That's what I'm saying. He
advice,
said,
just
"Don't listen to me." He wasn't good parental advice. Don't listen to me.
That's the only time we actually get to see the other 5 the 5 islands
The
is
little
on
island
the
chain?
map that she
The Islands of Death.
which they do
Los
not
Muertes. The 5 deaths. He says. I like how. I mean, I know it's just for the audience, but I love how Eddie goes like, "Whoa, what does that mean?" I'm like, you don't know basic Spanish? The fuck?
Yeah.
no.
I could have told you what that was. The hell? Yeah.
I
get it's supposed to be dramatic.
In
You
watching,
know what?
in watching
Yeah.
this movie today, I realized that both Julianne Moore and the daughter girl, whose name I don't remember, they're both Mary Sue characters. It's like having one in a movie is kind of like whatever. Depending on the movie, you kind of need the Mary Sue character, but there was 2 of them in here. The daughter served no purpose at all in this movie, other than to make things more dire. I'm like, you're being chased by dinosaurs in a hostile environment, and you need to make this more dire. It's like, do you want me to plant a nuclear bomb in the middle of the island and set the timer to as well? I mean, how much more dire do you want this to be for this film?
It was already dire in the fact that his girlfriend was there by herself. She literally was the only person on the island. They all went there to go get her.
Should not have been without talking to him. Like,
But she knew he would have said no because I mean he knows better.
Women like that drive me crazy.
So
Sorry.
she was already there. I don't know.
She's tenacious.
She's a woman. Yeah, I was like, she's
He
tenacious.
pushes the line. Look at the opening scene. She's trying to get a picture of this little baby, and then she runs away from the people and into the parents. Like, you're an idiot. Sorry. It just.
well, no.
She went up to the
They
baby,
just-
and the camera like started to rewind its film. For those of you who don't know what that
They
is.
act
That's what cameras
they
used to
actually
do.
describe why she ran into the middle instead of running behind her.
Okay.
Because if she's running behind her, she's bringing mom and dad with her. So she's
Just
putting
like-
the rest of the group in danger.
Just like Hammond
Yeah.
said, like she's studied African predators slipping downwind. She knows what she's doing. I'm like, right.
I didn't. 2 things I want to mention about this particular portion of the movie. One, we got another amazing line from Ian Malcolm. Thank you. Here comes the rain. Do 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 do. We got another improvised line where you have Eddie, may he rest in peace, yell, "They're just protecting their baby," and he quickly turns and said, "So am I." That was not scripted. That was him just popping it out there. So that's the second movie he's done where he's dropped a line that wasn't in the script, and they're like, "Keep it." And then I did not find much. Oh, that scared me. I did not find much chemistry between the 2. Occasional her saying, "Oh, here it comes."
Oh,
we got greenage.
Going green. It's a wonder of nature, baby. Wrong movie.
Wrong movie. Good movie. Wrong movie. I didn't get much chemistry between Ian Malcolm and Sarah Harding. I didn't get this
I'll give you
they're
that.
together.
I'll give you that.
Occasionally she said, she called him baby, but who wouldn't call Jeff Goldblum baby? I'd call him baby. So that doesn't matter.
I would.
So it's just like, if you're gonna you want good couple development, you take Ian Malcolm, or not Ian Malcolm, but like Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler. The 2 of them fed off each other perfectly.
Wouldn't it have
They
been better
could've went-
potentially if they weren't romantically linked and they didn't like each other, and at the end they started to like each other, like they were strangers and they met on this expedition?
I like that idea better. And I mean, they don't even build up to it that much. It's just John Hammond saying, she sought you out after the events of Jurassic Park because she wanted to know whether the rumors were true.
But if you do that, then there's no reason for Ian to even go to the island in the first place. Because remember, the main reason he goes is to go get
There's a
Julianne
connection,
Moore and
yeah.
leave. So if you'd have just said,
I
hey,
do
there's this really
like-
cute redhead on there, he'd have been like, so she's about to become fucking food for dinosaurs. Good luck.
But she's that girl. I do like how, like, leading into that, he's like, oh, I've got, da 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 da, and I've got da 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 da, and I've got my paleontologist. Anyway,
Yeah.
like, I love that whole like, why are you hiding that under your arm? Like,
Because he does say, so wait, who's the paleontologist? He goes, because he knew, he's like, no, I want you to know, she sought me out. She came to me. I'm like,
now, Mom said before you get angry, Dad. She said it was okay to have the cookie before dinner. I do like they built that up fine.
Maybe that's why that little girl got fucked up by those little compies, because she didn't ask permission.
She lived.
She lived.
She did.
Lived.
Yeah.
She did.
They actually had a really good deleted scene from that movie where it's them. You've probably seen it, but them sitting at the end in this big office, which turned out to be the same office where they would put write up scripts and everything, and they had all the maquettes on the tables and everything. I thought that was really cool. They threw that scene together in a matter of like 20-25 minutes. They said, where I probably should get all my bottles out of the way. I feel like I'm not helping my case any. Where he's talking about, they take the same exact scene and they shut it or close it into like 5 seconds of dialogue with John Hammond saying, yeah, poor girl was attacked. Oh, but she's fine, by the way. But going over to the deleted scene, you've got this full, which I could see why they took it out. It was just really boring. It's just a bunch of old men sitting there looking at paper. And him going, Peter Ludlow, whose voice, I don't know who he is. I don't know the actor. I don't care. I would rather listen to the Baby Rex on repeat for 2 hours than hear this man talk. But he's like, little girl was attacked and she'll be fine. My uncle. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. This is why he's gonna make it into the movie.
He's gonna pull up an Initech mug. Yeah, if you could just give me all of NGen, that'd be great. Thanks.
Thanks. Right. That'll be great. Even his death scream at the end of the movie was like, ugh, really? You can't even die properly? Okay. But Cora, you've seen it, I'm sure, right?
I watched it just this last week. It's I'll be honest. I fast forwarded the whole middle section of the movie to the last 40 minutes because the island scene, stupid. Except for
what I'm most excited about was the fucking knockoff Godzilla shit.
I don't know. It's just
that's the infamous part of the movie.
That was part of it, but I did like the scene where they, while the asshole's trying to present to these investors. They let all the animals out. And then the scene when they are getting hunted by the raptors in the grass. And
in the long grass. I still say that shit to this day.
Scenes with the stupid Julia Moore character and that pane of glass looking down. It's like, no.
You didn't like that? I thought that was awesome.
See, when we watch, that's the thing is, go ahead.
I was going to say, just that whole scene with the two Rexes, like, it really, because that whole is to represent how, early on in the movie as they're walking, she says, I'm here to prove that T-Rexes weren't just animals that would get rid of their young first thing as soon as they can, that they actually raise their young. And yeah, they put, they show, if the events of the first movie didn't show you how much a T-Rex wanted you dead, these two parents alone not only threw a Jeep off a cliff, they did the most epic score in any movie I've ever heard, with both of them stomping in on both sides of the Jeep, going after Eddie, each foot hitting, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, each foot hitting with each bell toll, and these two just are like, I'm feeling this, we're gonna do the wishbone, ripping Eddie in half, and still just being like, we're not done yet. And then
Mommy was very angry.
Mommy's very angry.
Were you also screaming at Sarah to answer the fucking phone, though? I mean, that pissed me off so bad.
I get, coming from a vet point of view, I totally understand why she's like, phone ringing.
Dinosaurs! There's no time in any fucking
I'm like, there's only so many people on this island. Who the hell else is calling you?
No, not Enrique. God damn it.
Exactly.
I feel bad for that guy Enrique.
Start spam calls asking if you want better insurance rates. For fuck's sake.
I mean, I get why Ian came in. There's like, someone answer the phone for God's sake.
What do you need? I'm here to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. Get
I
out
was just thinking the
of
same
here.
It went over a cliff. Fuck you.
But no, like that scene, I had to say, though, that was probably one of my favorite scenes. As a child, it scared the shit out of me because I remember my mom and I buying the box set of is that a plane or am I dying? The first two movies, because 3 hadn't come out yet. And this was back when the DVD boxes had like the real shiny dinosaurs on it. Like for the first movie, it was just the snout of the Rex, and then the Lost World was the 2 raptors coming at each other, and it was awesome. But I remember watching the making of it, and they go, "Oh, when they pull Eddie apart like a wishbone," and I look at my mom like, "That's this one." And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I don't want to watch this anymore. I regret every freaking minute of this now."
You watch dude get like taken off a toilet. Pulling Eddie apart was too far.
Oh, and then it was like things as I grew older that, you know, like when they pick the hippie guy up out of the waterfall and you hear the crunch and all the blood come down.
God, that gives me chills.
Distinctly remember jumping out of a beanbag chair, kicking my dog, running out of the room, and running to my dad screaming because I was like, why do I not remember any of this? Like, I loved this. But now these days, I'm like, this is the best thing. A paleontologist scared of a reptile and running into a bigger reptile. But there was just, oh, shit. Okay, that was cool.
There goes again.
There was a couple things.
And then he's running for his life.
Running and screaming.
He's running for his life.
There was just some parts of the Lost World.
Comes out in a Velociraptor dinosaur suit. Those ones that you blow up.
Don't give him ideas.
Shut up. No, like there's the whole scene with that where you've got people about to fall off a cliff, and then Eddie's like, "Can I get you guys anything else?" It's like, "Yeah, I'll take a double cheeseburger."
I was like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You've got 2 fucking 2 T-Rexes out there who just about you. It's time to make some fucking jokes.
I mean,
you've got the time for this shit?
God damn it, guys.
Who wrote the script? Jurassic Park 3 direct people? Like, what the hell?
We're not there yet.
We'll get there.
I wrote the script.
I hate that I was like, look, sometimes now I get attached to...
Like, I'll be fine. I won't die. I'm Brooding Gamer. I can't die.
I like main characters, but I'm like, they're like... I sometimes I look at like a side character where I'm like, you know what? I like you. You're like my favorite character. Eddie was that character, and I'm like, God damn it! Every time I do that, they fucking die.
Yes, they do.
In all three of the Walking Dead shows, I had a favorite character, and they all have now since died. And it makes me so mad. Like a side
ever watch
character
Game of Thrones.
No, I'm saying I watch Walking Dead. I know, don't get attached, but I'm just saying the people that aside from like the main,
don't like a character because they'll probably die.
Well, in those 2 shows, yeah, because anybody can die. But in that movie, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't really expect him to die, which that kind of sucked. I would say, yeah, this one, like I said, Rachel got to experience this one for the first time. And she said, like he just said...
Hey, apparently you're wearing an inflatable Velociraptor costume, just so you know.
Don't ask.
Sorry. She said my name's going to be changed to the Fried Gamer instead of the Brooding Gamer.
Anyway, I think your mom's also in the window back there.
How many fucking people are coming out of here?
I was like, I saw your mom, I think, back there.
God, it's like The Walking Dead. Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
Hell, I'm the Fried Gamer.
Anyway, she even said after that, comparatively to the first movie, she's like, this is straight up like a horror movie now. This is a little different. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it kind of is. It's kind of more terrifying because I'm like, you don't really have... I would say the security that you have on on Isla Nublar, where you have the fences, you have the enclosures. I almost started talking like you in there for a second. Fuck you, I'm doing it again.
You're inner Malcolm.
I'm getting into character. Where you have them kind of contained in a way, and it's kind of terrifying when they do get out. I'm like, they're straight up. You're all together in this, you and the dinosaur. So. It's kind of inherently more scary, which is why I like 2 and 3, because I'm like, you have bare minimum almost nothing, and you only have one engine left behind on this second island, and you're just hoping one of these little shits don't come up next to you, and you know.
Stick with Tembo, and you'll forever be safe. That's all I can say.
To me, it was kind of a tale of 2 movies. It's like you have all the stuff that happens on the island, and then you get back, and it's all the stuff that happens in San Diego. which I thought was kind of interesting.
You like better.
Because the whole time I'm watching the first Jurassic Park, it's like you'd have to start. Any person who has a brain would think, "Geez, what would happen if one of these big meat-eating bastards got loose in like Boston or L.A.?" And then Steven Spielberg's like, "Oh yeah, good idea for the next movie." Bam, we're gonna drop one of these T-Rexes right in the middle of San Diego.
That whole, if you like Easter eggs, the whole San Diego scene is just they bend you over a barrel and show you the 50 states with every reference, every Easter egg possible. I mean, you've got
Video
King
store
Kong,
one was great. The guy almost
video
exited the
store.
video store.
Yeah, you had all that. You also had the guy who tried to run into the video store and like grab the handle. He's a writer. He's just a writer. Yeah. He's a writer for the film, so he got to be in it. They had a Godzilla reference where you have them all running. Goes, he's like, I left, and they translated it, and it says, I left Japan because of this.
For this.
Shared universe, Jurassic World and Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh no!
Boom! Here we go. Call of Duty just crossed over. Yeah, they had a reference with I want to say it's either the old Lost World with the black and white or old King Kong black and white, where the T-Rex is walking through the yard. It is just a very quick thing where the T-Rex just randomly goes up on its neck and just scratches as it walks by. In the old one of those black and white movies, a T-Rex randomly just goes and just like this hand that comes out of nowhere. You had that. You had the fish tank, which had a little jaws inside of it, which I didn't realize that.
That Ian was driving, wasn't that from some movie too? Can't place it. Never mind.
I mean, he had a pretty cool car. I don't remember.
I don't remember them focusing on the car all that much.
No,
they didn't.
It was just kind of a cool car. Yeah, I could believe he would drive that.
It was an Ian Malcolm kind of car, but I don't think they focused on it all that much.
Yeah, I just think San Diego, and I mean even the Lego game Jurassic World, heavily focused on Easter eggs because they said that San Diego was full of them. So let's bring it over to Lego.
Maybe there was even a Barbasol can in the bathroom when the kid walks by or something. I don't know.
There is, but when like in the Lego game, when the T-Rex is getting off of the carrier and stomping off, one of the guys jumps off the boat, lands on another boat, and the guy looks up and says, "We're going to need a bigger boat." And the subtitle even says Brody. So I was like, okay, now that was good. I appreciated that. But it was just like everything they could cram into this just as like fan service, which I think they're about to do in the last movie. He did. I was like, well, he did Jack, didn't he? I know he did Pan. Did he also do Jack with oh God.
I don't think that was
Robin Williams.
I don't think Spielberg, you mean?
Yes.
No, I don't think that was him.
There was quite a few Spielberg movie posters in there, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. You guys just had to be like, I did that.
I kind of feel like with wasn't the bus maybe also not a Spielberg thing, but maybe like a Speed reference because it looks like the bus from Speed, and they're trying to outrun this.
It had T-Rex. The same number. It had the same bus number. As
I can believe it because I'm like, if you saw Keanu Reeves step out and he sees the T-Rex, he goes, "Whoa!" Like that would that would be kind of cool. All right. Just steps in the phone booth and takes off. I don't know.
Let's get to a little bit of the trivia while I'm thinking about it. I'll start with the one we've already kind of alluded to, just talking about the setting of the last part of the movie. Initially, Steven Spielberg wanted to save the San Diego sequence for the third film. However, he later decided to include it in this movie after realizing that he probably would not direct another installment of the franchise.
Well, he did. That was Joe Johnston, right?
I don't remember who directed the third one.
I think it was Joe Johnston.
He was there for it, but he didn't direct that much. He was like executive producer or something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he's been the executive producer or has some kind of production
on a lot of
million movies. And
Joe
Johnston. Yeah, okay. Joe Johnston did the first Captain America movie, the Captain America First Avenger. He did that movie. So, yeah, Joe Johnston's made a few good movies. But yeah, I like the fact that it kind of took it to where everybody lived and showed a little bit of what would happen if dinosaurs were interacting with human beings. I dig that.
And then they'll show you that 20 years later, cough, cough.
Yeah.
And yet, to this day, we still don't know what happened to the fucking boat crew.
That's a great question.
Yeah, they were all over the place. The only dinosaur they had on that boat was the T-Rex, right?
Possible something
again,
else smaller
it was
got on board.
yes,
But
it
they
was
never
a
mentioned that in
failed
the movie, though.
scene.
Well,
They
no.
mention it in a deleted scene. There was 2 deleted scenes. One was going to be where a pteranodon got on board, and then there was another one where it shows a pack of raptors climbing on board on the opposite side of the dock where people were loading up. To
Yeah, 'cause
Okay,
get
that
over
makes
to the
sense.
mainland.
Wasn't
I
the
just
infant
assumed it was
separate?
something like that.
No, the infant was the infant was already on the mainland because they
Yeah.
had him or her at a
At a secure
Facility.
facility is what
At
he
a-
They had
says.
her in the
Why?
facility.
secure facility. Why?
No way that the male T-Rex would have gone
didn't.
out of the
It's-
hold and gone back in it.
He didn't, and that's the problem. Is they had these scenes all. It's like I think because again they had raptors get on the boat. That was in the deleted scenes. However, I think they kind of like, okay, we're not going to use that scene because we're already cutting for time. But they forgot they already filmed that portion where
That
they get
also
on the
kind-
boat and there's body parts everywhere.
That also
Like-
kind of invokes too many questions. Like, wait, why are they here now? You know.
And it's like, where are the raptors if they made it on board? And I
Yeah.
think that would have caused. You've already got a T-Rex running around San Diego. Now you can't focus on a pack of raptors in San Diego, a pteranodon in San Diego, and a T-Rex, and get all of that story done in what was San Diego half hour, if that.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
can't do all that in a half hour.
I guess what you're saying it was too much chaos.
Exactly.
You're welcome. When you said I was sitting on that fucking line, I was waiting for it.
He
Does he
waiting
even
and
talk
waiting and
about
waiting for
chaos
a
in this?
Uh
Does
I don't know
he
if he
even? I have to go back and watch. I've got movies to watch tonight, apparently,
huh.
including Twister, because it's
Right.
apparently
I
about to be
don't-
living it.
I don't think Ian Malcolm actually mentions chaos theory in this.
No, they kind
I just
of
watched it
kind
today,
of-
and I can't go back in my head. I can't think of him mentioning it.
They kind
I don't
of
think he
mention it
does.
in 3, but not really. So yeah, I don't think they do.
Interesting.
All
I don't
I know it. Excuse me. It doesn't have the best of following fans. I mean, Corey even had a good example. The characters in this were kind of your background characters tended to be the better characters in this, apart
Eddie.
from Jeff Goldblum.
Mhm.
Exactly, who I'm talking about.
I love that.
But I mean, the whole reason I fell in love with the movie was because I saw it. It introduced me to one of my favorite dinosaurs, which was Elvis. I loved.
the pompadour.
That's why I do have Friar Tuck here with me. I saw that. And I was like, I was talking to Jeremy earlier. I'm like, who do I put on set today? But it was like it introduced me to more dinosaurs than we got to see in the first one. So that's why it stuck with me. Because I love the whole with them sitting up on the cliff and watching these guys chase through this herd of dinosaurs. It was like every metal kid's dream who love dinosaurs. Like, let's have a guy on a motorcycle do a wheelie going under a Momenchisaurus, or let's have these people, you know, it's just like, what can we do to make this as metal as possible?
If you
Apart
hadn't
from
read the
adding
books,
machine guns to their backs.
Didn't know much about InGen and the company itself, and so as a moviegoer, I think it was important for them to show some of the corporate side of things.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
considering that with Ludlow being kind of with the exception of the dinosaurs, Ludlow kind of the villain of the movie, the one who wants to manipulate all this stuff to his own ends. Showing a bit more of InGen and the inner workings of this stuff was probably important.
And you gotta love that sick burn from Ian Malcolm when the T-Rex gets loose. He just leans in and he goes, "Now you're John Hammond."
Now,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I
oh,
love
Love that
That's
line.
a good line.
that was great.
The whole point of being, and I honestly can't say that in any of the movies so far, including from the first movie all the way up until where we're at now with Fallen Kingdom, Ludlow was the one character, and this is just me opinion, was the one villain in that movie that I actually legitimately wanted to see die. Like, yeah, you get these people that are assholes and they're like, oh, I love money and dinosaurs. Like, sorry, you're just doing what every guy would want to do. Like, I can buy a dinosaur? Fuck yeah, sign me up. But Ludlow, he
I'm gonna
had
go.
everything
Go hunt
everything
a T-Rex.
about Ludlow was just because you kind of didn't know who the villain was in this.
You didn't want the game hunter to die? I kind of
kinda
did.
well,
little
Tenbo, at first, they kind of give you this idea that that Tenbo is maybe he's a bad guy. Well, he's not. He's a hunter. He's just doing what he wants to do. But then you see this side of him when his
Ajay.
friend and partner Ajay dies in the long grass, which thank God they didn't show that because I liked him.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't even care anymore. My
He
best
walks
friend's
out.
dead. And he leaves. So that was it. And so they take a character who you're like, do I hate you? Do I not hate you? And they kind of just flesh him out a little bit more, especially when he's walking with the one actor whose name is escaping me.
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, thank you. And he's like explaining, oh, man goes up to Mount Everest and they find him there almost dead. It's like, why'd you go up there to die? I didn't. I went up there to live. It was just like he had all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, that was cool.
It's that
and they
meme.
flesh out.
You're not a bad guy, but you're not really like a bad guy.
Yeah, they flesh him out to where he's not there to cause problems. He's just there on his own accord. He doesn't care what happens. He's not there to to help strengthen the park or whatever. He's just there because he wants to shoot a T-Rex.
Yeah,
he's a hunter. Of course,
he doesn't lie about who he is.
No, and then you get Ludlow, who his voice makes you want to punch something. His face makes you want to punch something.
His aloofness to what is going on around him. Like, do you really not realize what's happened? Even when Ian's trying to talk to him in the beginning of the movie, you can't stop signing paperwork and just look at Ian Malcolm for 5 fucking minutes.
I have a boss like that. Trust me, I know how that feels.
Like, asshole. Eye contact, respect.
Oh, careful. This suit costs more than our education.
Like, that's the one time he said something to him.
He even does the pompous British asshole. Like, I mean, one of the video games.
That's pretty ballsy, given that Ian Malcolm and also Jeff Goldblum was like 6'2". You looked up at this dude and really said that to him. I'm like, dude,
this man survived a T-Rex. Right. He will kill you. I mean, I had a PlayStation 2 game, Jeremy. You may have heard of this one. It's called Jurassic Park Operation Genesis.
Yes.
Ludlow is in that. Game. It's kind of just, they don't care if people have died or not. Characters are just in that game to play a role. Like, you've got Samuel L. Jackson in there, who every time you pull up a map, it's him going, hey. Like, literally, he goes, hey. I love it.
Onto your butt.
And it is,
hey, and it is his
go
voice.
Here. Yeah, go here.
This motherfucking dinosaurs over here.
Financial. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Financial support is brought on by Peter Ludlow, who will pop up. And even if you're doing a good job, like I got to a 5-star park and he pops up and he goes, could be better. I'm like, excuse the what? Could be better. And yet, if you fail, then he's like, anytime a dinosaur ate a guest, he pops up anytime. And it's the picture they gave him where it's like, really horrible, but I mean, it was like, of course you're in this, and it ruined my feeling. But that's why I'm saying, like, in all the villains we've had, I guess this is kind of going a little forward. The other guy in Fallen Kingdom who likes to take teeth, he's a bit of an asshole. But Ludlow is that one guy that you're like, if the T-Rex doesn't get it, I'll just hold him down and be like, here you go.
Oh no, he tripped.
I'll just
to be fair, at the end, though, he has some balls. He goes in to try to get the baby, even though
I don't know what he thought he was going to do.
Because he doesn't understand. He does not understand what these things are. He's just like, oh, it's just a baby. Even if I can stand up and look up to Ian Malcolm and question his education, I can clearly go and muzzle a fucking baby T-Rex. I question muzzling a German Shepherd, let alone a baby T-Rex.
He actually did it himself.
And look where it got him. Turned him into Hamburger Helper.
Agreed, 100%.
Here's another interesting piece of trivia that I found when I was looking into this. Is in Swedish, the word InGen means nobody, making the company InGen sound just a bit more mysterious. I did think that was kind of interesting because even through this movie, when we get to see a little bit more of the workings of InGen, we still don't really know anything about it other than, I mean, even when we get into Jurassic World, we're just seeing another version of Jurassic Park. We're not seeing like the corporate side of it too much. We're just seeing this one aspect of what they do. So it is still kind of this thing that's always kind of operating in the background that we never get a full view of, even up to the most recent Jurassic Park movie that we have. I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
Is it kind of like, oh hell, what's that?
Biosyn?
No. Holy shit. What's it called? Resident Evil. Why am I drawing a fucking
Umbrella
blank?
Company.
Umbrella Corp.
Umbrella Corporation. Is it kind of like that, where you're like, we don't really see it, but you kind of like, oh yeah, they created a whole zombie fucking apocalypse and a lot of other wild shit.
I mean,
You
InGen
don't really
makes dinosaurs monsters.
I'm saying you don't
Aren't
really
they kind of the same thing, really?
I'm saying you don't really see Umbrella Corporation. Like, you don't see the stuffy suits who are like, yes, we're gonna make this T-virus, because for some reason that makes sense. It's like, for what? All we see is the aftermath where it all just goes to hell, and then we're in a zombie apocalypse all of a sudden. Like, you got those wild, like, biogenetic engineering crap, like I said, with like things like Nemesis, shit like that. Like, not even just the zombies, like the really wild shit. Yeah. Comparable is what I'm saying. I think it's kind of like
yeah. I have to say though, just thinking about the whole like Swedish, it means nobody. It's creepy as hell because you really don't know. Like you get. I always kind of compare this to any president of the United States, so I'm not like poking at any particular one. But it's like the president's more of is more just the face. There's more behind them. You get John Hammond, you get Simon Masrani, and you're like, you know what? I really, I like this. This, a bearded Santa looking man who played Santa. And then you get Simon Masrani, who I'm watching that, and I'm like, I don't know, are you going to be a good guy or are you going to be a bad guy? And then you make one comment about, oh, you can tell how happy the animals are by the looks in their eyes. I'm like, God damn it, you're a good guy. You're gonna die. I know it. So, but like,
I was like, I like him too much. He's gonna die.
Yeah, there's always. I did that in the theater, but we will get to that when we get to that movie. I remember though, like sitting there, and you always have that one person behind you. So you get Jurassic Park 1, and you get this. Oh, well, he's a lovable grandfather kind of a guy, and he's kind of everybody's grandpa. He makes everybody feel loved and welcome, and he's just that jolly grandpa who, if you do piss off, you better fucking move. But behind him, you get Dennis. That's just that odd, like, that odd, creepy shadow looming over your shoulder. Okay, so, there's more to just, he's just kind of the face. He thinks he gets to choose all these things. And I mean, as you go throughout the movies, when they introduce things where it's like, well, that wasn't on InGen's list, makes you wonder what else they're hiding. So it's like John doesn't know everything going on. So yeah, maybe he's not the face of InGen. I don't know why I'm pointing to me. And then you get the Lost World, where he is now taken. His nephew has taken the reins quite literally by force and by blackmail. Even I'm sure that was part of it. But like now he's the looming shadow of InGen, and that there's someone still above that. And then kind of, with like Jurassic Park 3 just kind of did the shadow. You didn't really have a face or a shadow, but it was there. It loomed around you, kind of like, well, what the hell else is there that we don't know about?
So it's making
we'll get to that. Yes, I really do like that he brought that up because I didn't know that. It's just, it adds a very creepy factor.
Something you didn't know about Jurassic Park?
Who the fuck is running the show? Like,
what is this?
I like that though.
It's
that's
just
really
like
cool.
Another name, another suit, another G-man. You don't know who it is. It's just InGen.
You're just the face of the company, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's sad.
If I want your helicopter, go ahead.
And another piece of interesting trivia I found, Julianne Moore admitted in the years after this movie that she did this film to pay off a divorce settlement and to work with Steven Spielberg just once.
Hey man, do you?
Hey, whatever, you gotta
Did it work?
I'm guessing so.
Get what you wanted.
Well, I was Spielberg, so
I was going to say that we're going to go back to that scene. Like I said, with the glass, like, you know what? You got to admit, Spielberg knows how to do like action and like just build suspense. Because I'm like, that is stressful as shit. You're hanging over a cliff on a trailer that's about to fall over in the rain. There are 2 Rexes up there. They just wishbone my favorite character. I'm still not over it.
But you fucking got time to order a goddamn order from Mickey D's.
Maybe that was on InGen's menu. You don't know.
I'd have called it back and been like, oh yeah, grab me a beer.
Yeah. But like her just like
I didn't even get my burger.
Her pushing up on that glass, like just trying to move, and it's just like creaking like closer and closer to her. It's like that's suspenseful as hell. And you're sitting here like, don't fall. I mean, like,
Well, that whole him trying to grab Vince Vaughn, I think it was Vince. I couldn't remember if it was him or Ian, where they're like grabbing for the phone and I could do a 3D effect here. And it's just like right there. And it's just like, damn it. We've all had that happen in our life where we're like, right there.
I think Vince Vaughn was trying to stop the bag from falling because it was like on that light. He was trying to like grab it. So
yes, it was the bag. And
your lucky pack.
Oh yeah, that was a good little.
Yeah,
poor Eddie.
Dude. And I see, it's like you want to punch fucking Roland in the face when he's like, I assume you're talking about Eddie. You should show some respect. The guy gave his life for us. I was like, well, then his troubles are over. I'm like, hey, dick, damn, dude.
Well, I mean, hey, that's a pragmatic way of looking at it, because in the middle of that situation, you're still on an island full of things that want to eat you and then shit you out when they're done processing you. It's kind of like, I'm going to mourn this guy when I have time, but right now I don't really have time.
And it wasn't even his own guy. I get it.
True.
But you see how he
like you said, he wasn't the one that Vince Vaughn got in the tussle with. He got into the tussle with the guy from Until Dawn. Yeah. He's like, you looking for a problem? Well, I found you, didn't I? I'm like, oh, snap. They're going to fight.
Tenbo dropping the fucking letters here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you see how he
still sabotaged him, though. That was funny as shit. He actually took the slugs out of those shells. I'm like, he pulls them out, I was like, bastard. I'm like, ha, got him.
But yeah, I have to say, and going into my Toy Hunt review videos and stuff, when they released a dual pack, it was like a baby Parasaurolophus, or Elvis for those who don't know, and Tenbo. I'm like, am I getting this for the para because I love the para, or am I just getting this because fucking Tenbo's in it? Like, it even had the Jeep where the door slides out, and I'm like,
nice.
Oh, let's go. So I'm like, that was the first thing I had to pick up as soon as I got it. So it's cool to see Tenbo being referenced again in something, because after that there's just nothing. Like, he's just kind of, I think he's still alive, isn't he?
I'm not 100% sure. I
know
the guy that played the hunter.
Yeah,
Tenbo. Yeah.
Oh no, I think he's dead. I think that guy passed away.
He better fucking not be.
I know the guy that played Muldoon in the first movie. He actually passed away like 3 or 4 years after the first movie came out of cancer, I believe.
Sucks.
I'm not sure if that guy's still alive or not.
Pete Postlewaite, I think he's dead.
He better fucking not be.
I'm not sure.
Because I remember seeing him in James and the Giant Peach, and I was like,
yes.
It's you.
I would say that and
you.
That and that weird Romeo and Juliet thing with Leonardo DiCaprio. He was the father.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I watched that movie like once.
Yeah.
But
it's fun.
I don't know if you guys know. This is another piece of trivia. Around the 1 hour 55-minute mark, which is very close to the end of the movie, when Ludlow, who is played by Arliss Howard, is getting mauled to death by the infant T-Rex on the boat, if you listen closely, you can hear the buck Tyrannosaurus growl what appears to sound like "That's my boy," although it does not appear in subtitles. I missed that when I was watching the movie earlier. I'm going to have to go back when I'm done here and I'm going to play that movie and see if
you can't tell me the Rex doesn't have that moment where it kind of looks at the kid like, "That's my boy." It kind of has that moment. All I'm saying
is, if I go back and I watch this and I hear it, I'm coming for somebody, because then I'm going to always hear it from now on. Like,
I always thought that was just a joke.
It's like that asshole who had to take the T-Rex roar and replace it with either a chicken, because they're like, this is what dinosaurs really sounded like, or that stupid at the end of Jurassic World where she lets off her like epic roar and all you hear is yeah. I'm like,
that was funny.
That's all I hear now. That's all I expect. Am I going to get a roar? Am I going to get a yes? Like, what am I going to get? So now I'm going to have to go back and watch that. Damn it.
I think I'm going to have to
Yes, there are things I don't know.
I didn't hear it when I watched it earlier today, so I have to go back and watch just that one scene. I'm going to turn it up really, really loud and probably wake everybody in the house up, but I'm going to turn it on really, really loud just to see if I can hear it. Just a little bit of it. If I do, I'll let you guys know.
Right.
I think that's
like, what are you doing? Listening for "Here, That's My Boy."
I think that's just supposed to be the sentiment. I always thought like the dinosaur kind of looking at his kid like, "Aw, he's gonna grow up to be."
He looked very proud.
Yeah, because he obviously, I mean, he could have just bitten Ludlow in half and been done with him. If you see in the scene, he wounds him and then just kind of like tosses him over in front of the baby T-Rex.
And like the T-Rex, if you watch the T-Rex, he even kind of looks up at the parent a couple times, like for confirmation. Like he's like, is it okay? Is it okay?
Me do it? Yeah. Like they really do hammer home that that these animals are not just animals. If carrying stores.
If the big Rex would have just like nudged him with his nose, like go for it. I would have lost it.
I thought he did though. I thought the buck actually like kind of did like a go for it, boy, and it was like boy, like go for it, boy.
Also, as a side note, yes, Pete Postlewaite did pass away in 2011. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I was like, I remember seeing that.
Damn it! And there was people talking about he was going to show up in Dominion. Now they're lying.
No,
that would have been cool.
That would have been sweet.
They could recast him, but I think that'd be kind of a waste. I would rather him not show up in Dominion.
Just do the Harold Ramis thing with the Ghostbusters. Just have like a statue of it.
His whole arc was perfect. I love it. I think it's
mention his name.
I think it's why they had that guy kind of in the second movie, where it's like, oh yeah, this guy hunts these dinosaurs because he's kind of just an ass. He just wants their teeth as trophies. I'm like,
yeah, but he was just an ass to be an ass. Like
he kind of deserved it.
So it's like. But nah, I'm definitely gonna have to go.
Even though that was like the most like Wile E. Coyote, Bugs Bunny bullshit that dinosaur pulled, where he's like, you almost expect to hear him like look up and like wink at the camera, like, I want to get this guy, and then he fucking bites his arm off.
It fucking smiled, Jeremy. Like I watched that movie 100 times, and it legit was like, I'm like, I'm waiting to hear. What's that dog from Wacky Races where it's like, like
oh yeah,
to hear that fucking wheeze. I'm like. Fucking dinosaurs just fucking smile like the Grinch. What the fuck is going on?
I swear he would.
I can't wait to get to that movie. I can't wait to get to that movie.
That'll be that's right before the
That's when the toys really start piling up in the scene. Just saying. Old stuff I can't find, new stuff I can.
In another piece of trivia, in the early drafts of the script, Lex and Tim, played by Ariana Richardson and Joseph Mazzello, were kept in for much longer, and some potential storylines even had the kids going back to the park and encountering the dinosaurs again.
Okay.
Well,
that would have been better than the kid they had.
Well, I'm kind of glad
I think Ian said leave them out of this. I'm like, yeah.
I'm kind of glad they didn't, because if you go back, if you'd have just gotten everybody from the first movie back to do another romp with dinosaurs, it would have been kind of like, we've been here before. By changing a lot of different aspects, especially the location, instead of having it on an island, just on an island, they actually bring it back to the States. It's like you've really upped the ante, and by adding these other characters, you've thusly, at least visually anyway, put more people in danger, and you've kind of made it all a bit more intense. So I'm kind of glad that only like one or two people from the original film actually spent a significant amount of time in this movie. Really just one, if you count the fact that Richard Attenborough was only really in like the first few minutes and like the last few minutes. It's really the body of it. It's all about Jeff Goldblum.
I was going to say,
but yeah, I'm kind of glad I'm glad they did what they did.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just say goodbye to that when Dominion comes out, because they're going to be like taking as much fan service as an FYE and shoving it down your throat.
That's what
like,
they did with Jurassic
do you remember
World.
this guy? What about this? Do you remember this guy? What about this? You remember her from that scene in the diner in the third movie from like very back sitting by the jukebox? Yeah, here she is. Like,
they did that with Jurassic World though. It's like, remember the original park? Remember the Jeeps? Wasn't that fun time? Like, yeah, it was. Just leave it. I mean,
it's cool.
If this is going to be the last film of this franchise, though, at least for a while, I'm okay with fan service, because one of the best things about Endgame, knowing that it was the last, the last film of the Infinity Saga, is like all the fan service just kind of coming to fruition was one of the fun things about the movie. So I'm okay with having a good deal of fan service, especially since you're going to have the OG3 in this film. It's like just them being in the film is kind of a bit of fan service in and of itself. So I'm totally okay with them kind of going, the whole route and having, like maybe having some kind of a weird, not a cameo, but some kind of a heavier reference to John Hammond or maybe even Dennis Nedry or some kind of like memorial to all the people that have been killed by dinosaurs. And you see like a picture of Sam Jackson and Dennis Nedry and all these people. So
it's just an arm. That's all you see. Go ahead.
I was saying, are we going back to the? Well, I can't even say the island or the park, really, because I'm like, didn't the island kind of go kablooey?
Nublar is Dunzo.
Yeah, because I'm like, so we still have to see again. Thank God for Site B, right? We have a plot device.
Well, the guy even says we have another island. You know, we have a sanctuary where these animals can live free and be completely.
Well, that was Site B.
But I mean, however,
there are 5 islands though. So I mean, I'm like, are we going to go somewhere else?
Here's my one Dino Tracker reference. I said I'll do this a lot. If you read in the files, there's like a whole highlight, double click on this thing, and certain files will pop up. They even reference Site B as the animals may not even be alive on there anymore. So it's like there could be, nobody knows. It's kind of like a Loch Ness Monster kind of a situation.
I'm sure
like,
life will find a way.
It may be there and it may not be. So we could be seeing that again. But you always know if you have good fan service, if you have good nostalgia, if you go to a movie, and yes, I had this a lot with the Avengers movies. There's no Avengers movies you go to see in the theater, and you don't get at least half of the crowd go, "Oh my God!" freak out like Captain America catching the hammer. I was one of those people sitting there going,
I let out a noise.
Yeah, so I went to go. We finally got to see Doctor Strange, Haley and I, and we saw they did Jurassic World trailer, and when it's Ellie and it shows Ian or Dr. Grant, there were people in the theater going, yeah, me when they saw me. I will be going to go see Dominion dressed up as Alan Grant. I don't care. I don't care what people say. I'm Fat Grant. Yes, we're going.
You are. You're wonderful, Grant.
Thank you. But when he showed up on the screen, there was a decent amount of people going, yes, like they hadn't seen the trailer yet. So I'm like, see, now this is good. This is getting people going like you're bringing back all these old faces. That alone will probably bring people back to theaters to see these movies because that's who they grew up seeing. And it's funny because, there was this black gentleman in front of me who's going, oh my God, son. And he's talking to his little boy and he goes, that's Dr. Grant. The kid's like, who? And I'm like, oh, this guy and me here are going to be friends. Because he's like, he grew up on that too. He's excited. And now the son's like, who? Who's that? That's just some old bearded man. No, it's not. You have no idea.
One of the small silver linings to this whole pandemic thing is I got a chance to take my kids to go see the original Jurassic Park in theaters when they re-released it just to try to have some movies playing. And I was just like, this right here is how you need to watch a movie like this. It's like, it's great to watch it on I have a big enough TV that I can enjoy watching it. And watching it on TV is fine because it's still a great piece of cinema to watch. But big screen, that's why the theaters will never die, because you have to experience these movies in big scale to really get the effect.
Like
here in Inglewood Cinema, when Dominion comes out, they're doing a double feature of Jurassic Park and then Dominion.
I was going to say, they did do that during the pandemic. They just showed Jurassic Park as well. And I don't think my parents had actually ever seen it. I was like, let's go. And watch it.
Get in the car.
Right. I'll show you.
Which car are you planning on going in?
Whichever one's taking me to see Jurassic Park, damn it.
Yeah.
I think that's cool though, because I remember
that was the other movie we watched.
Yeah, when they were doing everything had to come back out in 3D, and they did Jurassic Park 3D. But I distinctly remember going to see it was one of the Hunger Games, whichever Hunger Games movie had all the fucking giant baboons, whichever one that was. I don't care. But I remember seeing it was the first time I've ever been able to see Jurassic Park trailer, the original Jurassic Park trailer, playing in a movie theater, and I'm just like, this is what people felt like? This is amazing. Like, holy shit. So if I ever get a chance to go to a double feature to see Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World Dominion, you better fucking believe I'm going to take that.
Oh, absolutely. If they do something like that, I'm doing it.
Oh, yeah.
But one more piece of trivia before we start to wrap things up and get out of here. A little bit of a casting thing. This would have been interesting. I love Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman was actually offered the role of Peter Ludlow, but turned it down due to scheduling conflicts, and was replaced by Arliss Howard, who would end up playing Ludlow. I do not know exactly what the scheduling conflict was for, as far as what film it was for. I don't know off the top of my head what he was in around that time. But I mean,
he was probably supposed to fucking Azkaban.
Yeah.
Dude, where were you where Jurassic Park happened like 20 years ago? I did my time.
I did my way.
20 years of it in Azkaban.
Maybe that's what he was doing. He was in Azkaban prison. I don't know.
You know what?
Right.
That's interesting you say that, because one of the other tidbits of trivia that I thought about putting on here was that the movie held the record for the biggest opening weekend in history from May 1997 until November of 2021, when it was surpassed by what? Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So a little about 7 degrees separation there, but yeah, they're there.
You mean 2001, not 2021?
That's what I meant.
That didn't. I was like, that didn't just come out. I'm like, wait a minute, wait.
Wow, Harry Potter's still surpassing. Jesus shit.
That's Fantastic Beasts. No, that's different.
I don't know. I feel like Gary Oldman. I don't know. I like him, but he can play a damn good bad guy.
He can play good everything.
Yeah,
he really does. I think he's my favorite Jim Gordon by far right now.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how I would have felt about God. Now we're going back and doing that whole like, what if somebody played somebody else? How would I feel about that?
No, you can't tell me that wasn't awesome. It's like, get away from my godson. Bam! You have magic powers and wands, and you decided to punch this person.
That's boss.
That's awesome.
That's how you know he's a badass. I don't need
That's
magic.
awesome. Right.
I could have turned into a dog and bit you. I chose to fuck you up as a human.
It's true.
I chose to punch you.
This is more personal.
Right.
But as we start to close things up here, let's get some of your final thoughts. Let's start with you, Lady Cora. Just some final thoughts on the Lost World Jurassic Park.
I like the last 40 minutes. Here you go.
Fair enough. Like I said, it was kind of two different sections of movie. I enjoyed them both the same, but it was kind of two different sections of movie. I get why you say that.
The asshole getting eaten by a baby.
It's always great to see the asshole in a movie get what he deserves. Whether it's getting eaten by a dinosaur, getting shot, getting a bomb dropped on him, a grenade wrapped around his face, who knows? As long as the asshole gets there again, it's always a great ending.
Pete Davidson getting shot in the face in Suicide Squad.
Damn right.
Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yes, you did. And I agree
Oh, well.
out loud. Jeremy, how about you? Some final thoughts on the Lost World Jurassic Park.
Well, I liked the entire rest of the movie from the beginning. No, I like the whole movie. It is. I always thought it was kind of weird. There was that kind of. I think even CinemaSins did a joke about that. They're like, "Cool, we're off the island. We're saved. We're good to go." There's like a whole another 40 minutes. Shit, we're doing something else. It does kind of like. It's almost like it's like the boat at the end. It's kind of like, whoa, stop. No, we're still going. I'm like, yeah. But I don't know. I guess kind of the more I watch it, I'm like, it kind of works just as a whole movie. I enjoy it for what it is, and again, I like that it's kind of more. It's a little more perilous because again, you don't have in that one. In the first movie, it's like, oh, we're in the park. We just got to get back to somewhere that is safe because it's probably you can lock it down, you can do all that crap. Like this, there's nothing. You're on there with the dinosaurs, and you don't want to get wishboned. That's all I'm saying.
And how about you, the dinosaur expert, Brooding Gamer? What did you think of the Lost World Jurassic Park?
The dinosaur man.
It's waiting behind him in the dark to eat him as soon as we stop going
You just see his
live.
nose just kind of come past that bush, like, hey.
Well, don't give me ideas, guys. I will figure something out here.
She's gonna put that outfit on. She's gonna be hiding in that bush,
Yes,
and she's
one
gonna
of
come
those
right out at
dinosaur
you.
things that you put on and you inflate with the little
Yeah.
arms.
I don't know if you guys ever watch Kentucky Ballistics, because I'm kind of a gun guy. I
Yes.
watch Kentucky Ballistics on YouTube. He actually has the guy Tactical T-Rex as a character. It's one of those people in those big T-Rex like suits where it's got like the clear thing right here, and then the head that comes way up. I may need to pick up one of those suits just for shits and giggles.
apparently each I didn't plan on doing much of a theme tonight because like I said, I texted Jeremy. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to figure out, because he was like, you looking forward to Jurassic Park night? And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out what prop I'm gonna have on with me, and I'm like figured out doing this, and then I get a thunderstorm. So I mean, I guess something is gonna happen each time. So what happens for the third movie, this tree may not be my best friend. But all in all, Lost World, it was probably my favorite growing up because it was more what I remembered growing up. It came out around the same time I was actually able to go to movie theaters and see things, and also watch hippies get crunched in a waterfall and run to my dad screaming bloody murder at 9 o'clock at night. but it also like I had a lot of fond memories going to like Walmart or Meijer or something and seeing the toy aisle just full of Lost World boxes, and I'm like, and then remembering that I bought them, or my mom and dad bought them and then sold them or threw them away, and I'm just sitting here kicking myself in the crotch, like, why the fuck would I do this? Like oh god. But yeah, that movie will forever play like a huge role because I mean, that's where I got introduced to one of my favorite dinosaurs. I got to see my favorite style of Velociraptor because you know those things change brands like a Nike commercial at this point. You got all these different versions of Velociraptors.
True.
And the Tiger Raptor has pretty much kind of been everybody's favorite raptor at this point, I've noticed. There's just a lot more personality to them. I mean, they enjoy gymnastics. We know that much. They love it till they don't love it.
So you're telling me this next movie they're so damn smart they're gonna start doing backflips on people?
They're already opening doors.
I know. I'm just saying.
And they're having babies asexually. So
real quick, sorry to intercede. Because of that movie, I will never live in a house with those kind of door handles. I have changed door handles in houses I've lived in because of Velociraptors.
Well, it just
I don't like doorknobs with faces because of the Muppet Christmas Carol. So we're all good.
And I don't like revolving doors because of The Walking Dead. I will not go through that shit.
Oh.
And I do not have irrational fears because I'm not weird.
If you know,
shut up.
If you know, you know.
Something had to make you lose all your hair.
That was age. That's the excuse for that. See all this? I'm surprised this hasn't fallen out. I'm just completely bald from head to toe anymore.
He's had to put up with me for like the last fucking 7 years. I'm surprised more didn't fall out.
But as far as me, I thought it was a good movie. Not as good as the original by any means. Again, I like Ian Malcolm. I like Jeff Goldblum playing him. Couldn't really get invested in the other characters. It was one of the things that I do like that line that Jeremy was talking about earlier where he says, now you're Ian Malcolm. Or not now you're Ian Malcolm, but now you're John Hammond. I get that line in context, but I'm like, again, one of the things that bothers me about the movie is a different guy made the same mistakes, and that's not a great plot for me. I mean, it would have been something else if somebody else maybe would have bought InGen from John Hammond, and John Hammond uses all that money to start the conservation thing, but they have different ideas, and they want to take InGen to a point where they're building a thing in San Diego, and there's this buildup like there was in the original movie. Because one of the knocks of the original movie by some people who just didn't get it was that you didn't get to see a dinosaur until halfway through the movie. It's like that. One of the cool things about that is that it built that tension. It's like, yeah, we know that they exist. We know we're getting there slowly, walking down this path, and then next thing you know, the power goes off, and then the goat, and then all hell breaks loose. We didn't really have that buildup of tension. It was just like Hammond calls Ian and says, "I sent your girlfriend to the island," and of course, he, in true hero of the movie fashion, decides he needs to go get her off the island. It was kind of cookie cutter for me. It was not an inspired story. And other than Malcolm, I wasn't really into a lot of the characters. And this is someone who loves Julianne Moore. I love Julianne Moore. I even like the Silence of the Lambs sequel that she did, Hannibal, even though a lot of people hated it because she's not Jodie Foster. I even like her in that, but it's just like I couldn't really get into a lot of the characters of this. I did like the hunter guy though. He was a bit of a He was another taste of the Muldoon character, which I thought was cool, because even though he's on the wrong side, so to speak, in the movie, he is kind of an honest person. He's no bullshit. I mean, he's there because he has a goal. He wants to catch a T-Rex, because who can ever say they wanted a T-Rex? Not many people. So, and when he's done with that, he's like, okay, I'm walking away. I'm done. I'm not going to go to San Diego and be a part of your bullshit. I'm not going to do all this. I'm just done. Have fun playing with your gigantic dog.
I'm in the company of death.
Yeah, and that's why I love that line. He's like, I'm not stupid enough to get involved with what you're doing past this. I'll get to this point because this is what I want to do. The rest of it, it's your mistake to make. I'm not going to play a part in it. And I thought that was, and I really liked this character.
He couldn't even be happy about it when the guy's like, look, you did it. And he's like, well, congratulations.
You've got your trophy.
Yeah, he's like, congratulations, man.
Yeah, I liked that he was pragmatic about the whole thing. He's like, okay, I got it. Now on to whatever's next. It's like, he's not a celebrating type of guy. He's like, whatever, I'll stuff the head and put it up on the wall in my office, and then after that, I want what's next. I'm not slowing down because I've got a T-Rex. I want to find.
It wasn't even that though. It wasn't even that. It was because he was like, he was like, he didn't even. He's like, you got your trophy. He goes, yeah, but he's dead. He's like, who? He's like,
I lost my
Ajay.
buddy. Yeah.
And he's like, and he goes, that's it. That was it. And he said, I think I've spent enough time in the company of death. He did not even care about what was coming next. He just wanted to grieve. He lost his Eddie at this point. So now he got to experience what they were experiencing. And that was all. He's like, I'm done.
And maybe
I'm out of here.
And maybe
he even did a Clark Gable. He put the hat on and I don't give a damn. He walked off.
And maybe even in that moment, he realized that some of the stuff that Vince Vaughn's character and Ian Malcolm is saying and Julianne Moore's character were saying, that they were probably right. That all the times they were like, you need to leave these damn things alone. He's probably like, after what I've seen here, these guys might be onto something. So I'm going to go ahead and step away since I've got what I wanted out of this whole thing and just good luck to you. I'm going to live somewhere that's a long way from San Diego where I have a feeling this whole thing's going to go sideways again.
The Triceratops flipped a flaming Jeep into a tree. These things are not okay.
Yeah, it's like, this thing can bite a human being in half. It's like, have you thought about this for just a minute?
They walk to the music.
Maybe you want to leave these things alone. Just saying. Didn't work out so well the last time. I don't know why you want to go back and do it again. Because they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So maybe these people are all kind of violently insane. But that's just my thoughts on it all. Anyway, thank all you guys for coming to hang out with us tonight, especially my amazing co-hosts. Lady Cora, where can the folks at home find you?
Nowhere, I'm a ghost. I don't believe in social media.
Cheese and Jen.
She is that disembodied voice that floats around YouTube.
I am an AI program. I'm kidding. No, I'll be here every Thursday. And I did just tweet out, by the way, and tagged all of you, including Rachel, a picture of my puppy being held by somebody in a T-Rex suit, which I think your fiance should get one of, by the way.
Nice.
For funsies. And,
I'm surprised I don't have one already, and I don't.
I am kind of surprised you don't have one already.
Yeah.
You spent $5 million on Jurassic Park stuff, and you don't have one of these dinosaur suits? What are you even doing with yourself?
Right?
And to my hetero life mate, Jeremy, where can the folks find you on the interwebs?
Well, I'm here as well. I'm here on Thursdays. I'm here on Mondays if we do a big movie review. Which is kind of a question, kind of maybe a statement. Are we doing Downton Abbey? Because I am seeing that tomorrow.
We probably will, but it's probably going to be a little more delayed because we still have the last couple seasons to do and the other movie to do, and I've just had a hard time getting it together on Saturdays, so we'll get it done.
I won't be seeing it till this weekend, Jeremy, so you're going to see it before me.
Okay, that was my question. I'm like, well, because I am seeing Downton Abbey tomorrow, so all right.
I'm going to try to see it soon when it comes out, but I don't know exactly when I'll be able to get to the theater. But Jennifer wants to go see it with me too, so it'll be whenever we're free.
All right, nice. But yeah, so if we do big movies like that, sometimes we'll be on Monday. Just be looking out for it. Well, let's go with Twitch first. Twitch is usually on Tuesdays. Maybe if I'm feeling frisky, I'll do it some other day of the week, but Tuesdays for sure. But the best place, like I said, to find all that stuff to follow me on is on Twitter. That's probably where I'll, say, hey, we're going live, we're doing this, or like I said, if it's Friday and I'm feeling like, fuck it, we're Friday night at the pub, as they used to call it. We're doing a PUBG stream or something stupid like that. I had a fun time with those titles.
I like that.
Yeah, it was Friday night at the pub. That's what it used to be.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because
what I used to do at the very last couple people, I always called it a pub crawl. I'm like, yep, we're proning and we're slowly going to move towards the circle. It's a pub crawl. I have so many jokes. That's why you should follow me. It's a fun time.
The pub?
From Tuesday to
The pub.
Yeah, pub.
Reach me at
he gets it. We go to the Winchester, have a pint, and wait for this other thing to blow over.
Damn right.
A little warm, babe.
He is Grim Tuesday 23 across all platforms. Go give him a hard time wherever you can find him on the internet. You are doing more gaming stuff still, right? On Twitch?
Yeah, like I said,
still doing Star Wars Lego?
Yeah, every Tuesday. We didn't do one this past week because I was feeling like crap. Like Monday and Tuesday, you probably don't want to know what I was doing, but it was bad.
Ooh, Rachel got you sick.
No, actually she didn't, which is weird. I don't know what got me sick. It was just my stomach. No fever, no nothing. It was just not agreeing with it.
I'm glad she felt good to do the recordings because, by the way, those came out. Editing those right now. is looking fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Like I said, then I suddenly, that next day was just, so I'm glad I was able to do that with you guys. But yeah, well, I'm going to be on his channel soon. So speaking of that guy, wherever he's at.
Nice.
And speaking of that guy, that guy
The dinosaur man.
That guy is the dinosaur man, the Brooding Gamer. What can the folks expect from your channel? What do you got coming up in the next couple videos?
I'm currently doing some epic toy reviews I'm doing some special
Oh, hell no. Did his phone die?
Oh,
I had to.
Dude. Dick.
That was
That's
good.
awesome.
I'm sitting there looking. If you see my eyes moving, I'm like, where do I go?
His stick, and I hate it.
So I'm actually doing. Jeremy and his lovely girlfriend helped me out big time with doing filming for some certain things. I won't go into it, but yes, there was a lot of costumes and a lot of yelling involved.
Maybe what I'm wearing right now is a clue.
Maybe.
play.
And I will be doing some epic reviews based on like a particular figure. I'll be doing something on all the masks. So if anybody who's a big Legend of Zelda fan will absolutely love the Majora's Mask-esque video review that I will be doing. Thanks to Jeremy, which by the way, looking back at the camera footage of the mask actually looked pretty badass. I've got those on there and I'm like, this plays off perfectly.
I don't know how to operate a camera, damn it.
And it was, you guys can expect to see those popping out here soon. The biggest review video we'll be doing will be probably around June when the next wave of Dominion things start popping up in stores, which will be where we did a lot of the filming in car video or scenes will start popping up. But that's what we'll be doing on my channel here very shortly, and some live streams of Jurassic World Evolution 2, preparing our park for the Dominion update when that is set to drop sometime, hopefully soon. At Brooding Gamer YouTube channel.
I will have to remember to put your Twitter handle in the description as well for next week. But yeah, the link to the Brooding Gamer is in the description below in the gamers section where I have Casey is Raw and the Rose Gaming. Go check out all those guys for all the cool video game content that they put out. As for me, you can find me here every Thursday going over all the craziness that happens in the world of television entertainment, giving you our reviews and thoughts on the stories of the day. You can also find me on Sundays over on the Derailed podcast talking about all the other craziness going on in the world that I don't like to talk about on this channel because I don't like to chase people away from my channel. I'm trying to grow this shit, not run people off. Yeah.
What a tagline.
I'm trying to grow my
I
shit.
thought there was a Jurassic Park tie-in. Like, I don't like chasing people away from me. Like, I'm big image in a small mirror.
I will not bite you in half if you're sitting on the toilet watching my show on your phone. I actually appreciate you
Here we go.
coming to me in that time.
He's trying to keep it in the ooh and ahs, not the running and screaming.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep it in there. Thank you to everybody who voted in the poll, by the way. 14 votes total. 86% of you said yes, that you do like the Lost World Jurassic Park, and one or two trolls who are probably just trying to be different. 14% of you said no. So obviously, everybody that voted in the poll thinks that Jurassic Park The Lost World is a good movie, and I think it is as well. Join us next week when we go over a few of the news stories that pop off between now and then. And next week we'll be going over Jurassic Park 3, which did not have any kind of a tagline or special title like this movie did. That one we will see the return of that guy you see in the middle bottom of your screen right now, the real Alan Grant, not the almost one that we have. But I also want to say thank you to David Lopez, who I think I forgot to shout out last week for subscribing, and to Bill Zarnock, who subscribed sometime over the course of the week as well. And I did actually forget, real quick, to work into the rundown for this week, giving away the $25 in free movie tickets. We'll do that next week. I've already got that written down in my notes, and I need to make sure we do that next week. So you have time, join the Patreon if you would. I'll go ahead and do that thing real quick. For just